Hello dear viewers, thank you for choosing the Manhwa compilation channel. Please leave feedback in the comments after watching. Enjoy watching. The Last Fortress of Humanity, Dark City, the battle of dragons and people against evil. Not for life, but for death. The elder standing on top of the building watched what was happening and was amazed. Oh no. Even the almighty dragon was defeated. Timekeeper Otto appeared through the portal, shouting to the elder that our world can no longer be saved. Something needs to be done. Kneeling before the master, Otto asks him not to lose hope and give the new generation a chance to live. He proposes to burn his body and soul with the help of a time dragon in order to open a path to the past for the teacher.
The guardian of time turns to the elder, telling him with confidence, "I believe that with your wisdom we can change the future."
With some despair and hopelessness, the sage says that, despite all his knowledge and experience, he cannot do anything. No one can leave this world, since they all belong to this time. The Last Fortress of Humanity. The battle continues. Everything is on fire. Dragons and people are unable to resist. With the help of his magical staff, the elder began to act. A circle with inscriptions and images began to appear under his feet. Then a light appeared, emanating from the resulting magic circle, rising upward in the shape of a spiral. Later, the elder himself rose and hovered in the air, holding his staff in his hands. He was accompanied and enveloped by a light that rushed upward. In the air above the palm, the main book of dragons hovered. A magical light emanated from it, enveloping the space around. The elder stopped for a while, looked into the distance and said, "Let those who do not belong to this time rewrite the fate of humanity." Circles appeared in the sky. Continuing to stand in the main magic circle, the elder, through the center of the circles in the sky with the help of his staff, fired a ray of light, which through the loops of time should get into another world. Everything around was ominously dark and on fire. The magic beam gained strength and speed. Next to him could be seen magical sparks that fell to the ground. The beam still pierced the sky, rushing upward. But something or someone began to be seen, emerging from the darkness in the sky above the ray of light. This is someone with limbs similar to those of an octopus, but many times larger. He began to wrap his tentacles around the beam, believing that this useless struggle of people makes them even more pitiful.
Seeing this villain, who looked like an octopus, the Keeper of Time was very surprised. He began to say that this is the same, but the elder, interrupting him, continued. The Forbidden God.
The Forbidden God wants to destroy the passage, humanity, which has let centuries fall into ruins, and with this sad hope, turning to dust. The elder stood with his eyes closed. The master understood that this was the end. He is inevitable in this place, at this time for all of them. The wise man and the Keeper of Time accept his end with dignity. Even if only ashes remain after them, they will still die heroes. Forbidden God, behold their final fury. Meanwhile, the warriors fighting on the ground saw what was happening above. One of them said that this was a holy elder. He performs a ritual of sacrifice. From the top of the building, the soldiers heard a voice. The sage said that their age was coming to an end, and soon they would all die. So why don't they join in on this doomsday fireworks display? The warriors decided to follow the elder and accept death without regret. Sparks of light began to cover them. The magical beam of light continued to be released. People from ancient times present a gift to the inhabitants of the future, which will pass along the Milky Way and travel to the distant past. Meanwhile, the attempts of the Forbidden God to destroy the passage ended sadly for him. The beam continued its movement, traveling through space to sow seeds of hope for the future of humanity. And this will be the generation of the ancient wasteland, where beasts and monsters are rampant. Having beast tamers, they fight monsters and get the best resources. Outside the shelters, many dangerous bloodthirsty monsters await them, where death awaits them at every turn. Blacklight's main base has been located in the dangerous wasteland for hundreds of years. Its current owner is an extremely strong master. He has created a special camp and training method for new tamers. And this is the key to ensuring that the base exists for hundreds of years to come. Meanwhile, inside Blacklight Castle, the guy read the announcement, paying attention to the line where it said that if a student's egg did not hatch during 3 years of study, he would be transferred to the collection team. Any objections from the student are equal to death. Having read the ad to the end, the guy sat down in despair in the first place he found. He was sitting on a wooden barrel. 3 years have passed. Was it really all in vain? How can this be, he thought. Tomorrow is the last day, and his egg shows absolutely no sign of hatching. He was very upset. Suddenly, the guy saw something in the sky. It flew down at high speed. He wondered what it could be. It was a magical ray of light. His journey through space has come to an end. The beam hit the guy's head straight. From such a blow of light, the student fell. He lay unconscious. He dreamed of a huge flying dragon. Open mouth, glowing eyes, large and sharp claws. He inspired horror and fear. A man was sitting on top of him. Suddenly, he started shouting for him to finally wake up. Get up! After such screams and something unpleasantly touching his cheek, the young man woke up. He asked him what he slept here. The guy saw other students around him, and the one who came to him with questions and complaints, holding a whip in your hands. The older student said that the younger students could not spend the night in the castle. The student asked menacingly and demanded an answer from the guy that he slept here or something. The young man wondered if it was just a dream. The huge dragon he tamed. Are there really such things? He couldn't believe it was just a dream. The older student was angry, unable to stand it. He shouted that the young man was talking to himself. Actually, he is here and hears everything. He could not stand such disrespect for his person on the part of the younger student. He shouted who he was taking him for, and he angrily hit the guy on the cheek with a whip. At the sight of the impact, a wound appeared that burned the younger student's cheek. It was unpleasant. The older student heard that today the young man was going to join the tramps from the search party and go into the wasteland to get food. He had an evil smile on his face. He became interested, having got out of the base, whether the young man would be able to return alive. He swung at the younger student, ready to hit him again. Suddenly, the guy's egg began to crack. One of the students screamed that his egg was cracked. Everyone was surprised by this event. His egg. What happened to him? He couldn't believe his eyes. He succeeded. 3 years of effort, and it's not in vain. He did it. Yoy, someone's going to get in trouble. The older student was surprised whether this kid really succeeded. He turned to the guy whom he had recently hit with a whip, saying that there had been a huge misunderstanding. He will definitely inform the main teacher that the guy completed an internship and became a master. Adding, in the future, he is confident that the young man will quickly reach new heights. Unexpectedly for everyone, someone shouted that there was no need to report. It was the head mentor of Blacklight Tower, Lu Yu. She walked closer to Su Heng. Now he will be able to interact with his egg. The guy looked at him, to interact. Touching the egg with his cheek, he said that he was looking forward to it. The guy looked into the hole that appeared in the egg. And I thought about it. But then, with childish joy and a smile on his face, he said that he was talking. Lu Yu said how wonderful this is. Placing her hands on the guy's shoulders, the mentor happily said, "More and more young animal tamers are appearing in Blacklight." Her gaze settled on his wounded cheek. She thought about it. The mentor asked what kind of wound was on his cheek. Pointing his finger at the older student, the young man said that it was he who hit him. The girl said furiously, how dare he hit the master? She will reward him with 20 blows of the whip and then send him into the wasteland to get food. There, he will receive his punishment. The senior student asked the guy Su Heng to spare him, but it was all in vain. Mentor Lu Yu called Su Heng to follow her. The majestic Blacklight Castle. They entered one of the rooms of the castle. A man was sitting at the table. It was the base master, Zhou Gu. He asked if this guy is the first newcomer this semester. That's right, Lu Yu answered. She added that she heard that he was about to join the search party, but suddenly his egg began to hatch. She said that this boy should be well rewarded. What a stubborn boy. He was able to pass at the very last moment. Not bad, Zhou Hu said. The owner of the castle turned to the young man, saying that he had 2 options. First, in his egg there is a scaly lizard. He can give him a piece of dragon freshness, which contains dragon blood. This will speed up the hatching process. He will become stronger than other scaly lizards. And if the cub is charged with a drop of dragon blood, he will become very strong. Second option. When the time comes to get a second pet, the master will allow the main character to choose 1 egg from his collection. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Su Heng said that he was thinking of choosing the first option. Great, the camp owner replied. The master will order the dragon scales to be delivered this afternoon, with the hope that in the future the student will not forget about this and will contribute to Blacklight. The guy was happy. Yes. In addition to the castle, Blacklight itself is divided into 2 zones, internal and external. The inner zone is where wealthy members of the community live and also has a cleaner environment. The outer zone, on the contrary, is considered bad and dirty. Representatives of the lower classes live there. Outer area, Su Heng's house. You could hear the guy's voice. He said that it hurt and asked to be let in. Something was happening. The girl who grabbed the young man by the ear asked him what he knew about pain. He wasn't there at night. Where was he anyway? She was worried about him. This morning, she went to the inner area to look for a guy, but couldn't get in and had to wait at the gate. The girl said that he generally understands. She's about to tear off all his ears. Somebody's knocking on the door. "Who's there?" the girl asked. A guy appeared holding a tray with coins and packed boxes in his hands. He greeted Su Heng, saying that the master of the castle had ordered it to be delivered to him. He bowed and asked to keep it safe. I wished the guy success in martial arts and in raising his animals. They were in complete shock and bewilderment, looking at what the guy brought them. The girl was delighted with the raising of animals. Su Heng, did he really succeed? She hugged him, saying it was so cool. His parents would be happy to know that everything worked out for him. No wonder they sold their last home. Su Heng said that he would still live in the outer zone. It was awkward. With joy, the guys forgot that the guy with the tray was still standing with them. The sister came to her senses and said that she was going to go to work. As she left, she told little Han to behave well, and she left. The door closed, and again an awkward situation. What to say? This is his sister. The guy left. Su Heng left alone. He took a small box from the tray. Having opened it, I saw something similar to petals. Is this really dragon scales? The 3 petals lying in the guy's palm began to glow. Something is happening. The light illuminated his head. Even his eyes took on a different color. Magical ancient secrets began to unfold before the guy. He saw the main book of dragons, which contains a lot of useful information. For example, hatching an egg and turning into a dragon, what is needed for this? A scaly lizard, dragon scales, dragon blood root, and voila. A dragon lizard. Phew, it's over. Su Heng thanked. With disbelief, the young man thought that the scaly lizard could turn into a dragon. An adult lizard dragon is a high-class species that can easily destroy a small city, and the one the guy has is a middle-class species, a scaly lizard. These are 2 completely different species. Dragon's blood root. It looks like a brown root. Su Heng became interested in what he could do for him. Holding the dragon scales in his hands, he thought. The girl, who was so talented, surprised the owner of the castle and became his student. The first animal she bred was a high-class dangerous species. The guy thought if he could bring out the lizard dragon, then maybe. And then it dawned on him. He quickly ran to the medical shop. I laid out 4 coins on the table and bought a full packet of dragon root. Maybe then, he continued to think. He quickly ran to mine and began to grind the root. After graduation, he took the egg and placed it in the liquid that he managed to make from the root. After that, he began to draw and write on the floor with a pen, creating everything in the form of a circle. Upon completion of the creation of the magic circle, he placed an egg in the center of it, and he began to say something. Suddenly the circle lit up. At first nothing happened to the egg, but suddenly a bright stream of light flew out of it. He blinded the guy. The magical light was in the form of a dragon. He rose above the guy and hovered in the air for a while. Then he began to fall back into the egg. It's all over. All that remained were sparks of light that hovered above the egg. Something is happening. The egg begins to move and crack. Someone is born. Su Heng thought that it was still a scaly lizard or a dragon lizard. Camp training ground. Students learn sword fighting and other martial arts, practicing strikes alone, in pairs, or in a group of 3 students. The main mentor of Blacklight Tower, Lu Yu, is watching everything that happens. She is attentive and decisive. If something goes wrong, she is on alert. While practicing, the 2 students started talking. Su Heng's egg had not yet hatched, and he had not attended training for 4 days. How interesting. Let's wait for Chief Teacher Lu to deal with him. Suddenly Lu Yu saw Su Heng. He was just walking to the training ground. Wow, she said. At least he understands that he needs to attend training. The disciples heard the teacher's speech. One of them said, "That's it, Su Heng is finished." The guy turned to Lu Yu that he had to miss training. But he had a reason. The mentor asked, "And what kind?" "Interesting. She better be quite serious." He turns his back to her and says, "Get out, baby." Someone's paws and cute eyes were peeking out from the backpack hanging on the guy's back. A moment later, the little animal was already on the young man's shoulder. The little animal smiled sweetly and made the sound fur-rav. The mentor and students were surprised by what they saw. For a moment, speechless. "This is not a scaly lizard," said one of the students, asking what it is, so scary. The girl replied that this was a particularly dangerous species, dragon lizard. Mentor Lu turned to Su Heng that we were going to the owner of the castle. When the master saw the little animal, he confirmed that it was indeed a very dangerous species. And it was he who hatched first. "What the heck?" he asked Lu Yu, pointing his finger at her, who gave him this egg. "Immediately notify the agency responsible for this. Let them find the culprit and fine him 3 monthly salaries." How could they allow something like this to happen? As for Su Heng, thanks to his work all these years, he has gone through a lot and gained experience. First, he received an ordinary egg of a scaly lizard, and now he has in his hands the most dangerous species of the highest level, a dragon lizard. This is a great achievement. The master believes in the guy, telling him that he will go far. Upon hearing this, the guy said that he would live up to his expectations. The teacher is very glad that they have such a talented and persistent young man in the castle. Zhou Hu says proudly. With bold determination, the master asks the guy if he wants to become his student. Out of surprise, Su Heng asked what. He couldn't believe it. Lu Yu said the burgomaster. The mentor did not expect this from him. She didn't think that after that genius by Susu, the master would accept someone else as a disciple. Putting his hand on his heart, Su Heng said that of course he really wants to, teacher. The master laughed. This is good. This evening the owner of the camp will host a banquet where all the tamers and their mentors will be invited. He wants to celebrate the arrival of a talented tamer and his new student. Blacklight Castle, banquet, and they celebrated until the evening. Su Heng and his sister returned home, accompanied by the burgomaster's personal guard. While in a carriage, conversation in the house. Imagine. A brother tells his sister that he now receives 100 gold pieces a month to support his pet. To this, she suggested that maybe then we could save up and buy out her parents' house, and then he would pay for her education. She wouldn't have earned that much even in 3 years. Pinching his cheek, she added, "This is what he gives. Well, sister, go and have a rest and go to work tomorrow." "Uh-huh," she replied. Su Heng was sitting at the table. By candlelight, his pet was nearby. He was sleeping. The most glaring difference between ordinary creatures and dangerous enemies is whether they have an innate ability to use magic. He was reading a book about dragons. The ability to use magic is called magic talent. Talent is a key factor in determining the strength of the beast. The snake dragon lizard, as one of the most dangerous species, has a special predisposition to use magic. Besides the most common evil attack, there are other 6 skills. Dragon Sleep is able to quickly restore strength and regenerate injuries received in battle. Inferior Dragon Power, common to most inferior dragon races, and Dragon Might. Dragons also use the power of the earth, which is a destructive technique. Natural power allows you to use the energy of nature and its resources for magic. The combination of natural strength and Dragon Dream makes the lizard dragon almost invincible. The last skill is Evil, the most powerful technique with destructive power, close to the power of Dragon's Breath. The guy was captivated by reading the book. Taking a break from her, Su Heng looked at the lizard dragon and said, "He believes that the baby will become a real master of the beasts." The little beast was sleeping. Suddenly he grew up. The young man was frightened by surprise. Wow, he thought, dangerous species are growing so fast. Morning, Blacklight Castle, training room. The master noticed that the guy's dragon was indeed very talented. The teacher offers to test the power of the dragon in 3 magical elements, and, as a result, choose one that the young man should focus on first. The master said that the element of his beast is evil. The teacher held out his hand on the finger of which there was a ring. It lit up. The guy noticed this. He couldn't believe his eyes that this was the master's animal talisman. An animal talisman is a thing that allows you to keep a huge beast inside you, where it can rest and recover. After all, the animal becomes so large that it will be difficult to contain it. Therefore, tamers often use various decorations in the form of talismans. A huge beast appeared from the master's ring. But Su Heng was not afraid. He was interested. This is a representative of a beast with the element of evil of the 2nd rank, a scarlet wolf. The master explained to the student. He used to be the teacher's main beast. In his opinion, the scarlet wolf is good for training the snake dragon, because they are a perfect match for each other. The guy asked again, "They are combined. I can't believe it." The scarlet wolf is a most dangerous species, combining not only a purebred breed, but also true bestial anger, which is very harmonious in tandem with a snake dragon. The master told Su Heng to put him down on the floor and trust him. But the student and the little animal were not enthusiastic about this idea. But still the guy obeyed, and he did as the teacher told him. In front of the small animal stood a huge, angry animal with red eyes. The kid was scared, but he remained standing in place. Su Heng turned to him so that he doesn't rely on him. "Try it yourself." The teacher gave the command to the scarlet wolf to act using evil breath, to show the baby how to do it. The scarlet wolf began to use the technique. A large red circle formed in its mouth. Suddenly, the teacher shouted, "Stop!" The big beast did not understand what had happened, but stopped. It worked, said the master. Su Heng did not immediately understand what had happened. He saw that something was happening to his pet. The animal was now very angry, full of determination, with scorching eyes. Purple smoke began to appear next to him. The master said, "Look how smart the kid is." He began to inhale the air. Su Heng encouraged him, holding his fists for him. Having taken in enough air, the little animal exhaled. It turned out a little awkward, but this is the first time. The master said that the guy's animal today for the first time comprehended the evil element. This purple smoke is the initial form of the breath of evil thought. The kid really has talent. Looking at his first steps, you can understand that he has great potential. The scarlet wolf will no longer be of use to him. The teacher raised his hand and the big beast began to return to the ring. The guy's little pet breathed a sigh of relief. A moment later, another large beast appeared next to the master, with burning eyes, claws, and a beak like a duck. This is the Earth Platypus, a trio formed from earth magic, animal essence, and intimidation. The teacher said that he should play with him. At the sight of such a big beast, the little dragon hid behind the guy's leg. He was scared. He started making sounds, making it clear that he has no desire to play with the platypus. Immediately, Su Heng turned to the teacher that maybe it's not worth it. Of course, it's up to him to decide. The master thought about it and said that he was right, after which the platypus disappeared. But immediately another huge beast appeared with large claws and sharp teeth, smoke coming out of its mouth. The teacher thought that the platypus would be too simple, so he called the next animal. This beast turned out to be a dragon. One of the most powerful animals of the master is the harmony of fire, stone, and evil. Lava Tyrannosaurus. It was enormous in size. The guy asked the teacher that dragons are rare. He replied, "Certainly a rarity, man." He was lucky that the very first dragon hatched was incredible luck. Without it, most likely, the young man would never have received the second egg. Many tamers want to have such a beast, but they cannot. Then he thought about the book he had recently read. It must be that a grimoire with rituals of ancient dragons is a very serious thing. The teacher asked ready. The master's beast stood behind him. Whether the guy and his pet are ready is another question. But the lava Tyrannosaurus was definitely ready and determined to take action. The little beast was scared. Why did he need all this? The master commanded the lava Tyrannosaurus to advance. He told the guy that we'll see how his animal reacts. The lava Tyrannosaurus opened its mouth to release a stream of air. He started to attack. The guy and his pet were puzzled. The dragon's airflow became stronger, and it was difficult for the young man to stay in place. What terrifying pressure. He felt like a tiny boat that could capsize from such a huge thing. Suddenly he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was the teacher. He told the guy to move away, otherwise he would get hurt. A flying stream of wind almost caught the young man. But everything worked out. How strong he is, the student noted. The master watched the little animal. He said, "Look." The master noticed that the guy's pet was holding up well. He immediately told the lava Tyrannosaurus to intensify the attack. Well, there is no need to beg the beast. He doesn't mind warming up. The large dragon began to attack the baby with all its might. But he didn't even think about running away. The little brave man took the attack of the big beast, trying to stay in place. The teacher said, "Let's see if your dragon can handle it." It works out for him. The master was very surprised. Although he is still weak, he is trying to use the inferior dragon power against the power of the higher-level Tyrannosaurus. The master noticed that the dragon has a very high level of magical talent, but the teacher does not know whether he can break through the terrifying terror of his beast. Su Heng couldn't believe whether his little animal was really that strong. The teacher confirmed that this was true. The master asked the guy if he had already used the dragon scales he sent him. The student replied that he used it as soon as he received it. It seems that the animal has well absorbed the substance found in the scales. He may have even been able to obtain some dragon blood, which helped him double his talent. The teacher held out his hand with the book, telling the student to take it. In it, he collected methods and techniques that can help a guy develop his beast. The book also contains one interesting method that develops mind power. He told the guy not to forget about personal spiritual preparation when he trained the dragon. The power of the mind is his personal strength, the basis for training the beast. The guy thanked the teacher. He was happy. After leaving the castle, Su Heng was finally able to buy back his family's old mansion. People knew that the young man had become a master tamer and treated him with respect. While Sister Suching was working, Su Heng started cleaning. Although he could not make the house look like it was in his memories, there was a feeling of relief in his heart. Before telling Suching the good news, her brother decided to go to her work and pick her up to surprise his sister. "Let's go. We need to pick up our sister from work," the guy said to the pet. and he ran, humming something. His cub held on tightly to him. Two dogs looked like wolves with burning eyes and open mouths. They didn't look very friendly. The girl screamed loudly. It was Su Qing. They stood in front of her, not allowing her to move forward. Su Heng heard this cry, and then I thought, this voice is familiar. Quickly and without hesitation, he jumped out of his seat and ran towards the cry that he had heard earlier, his sister screaming. The animals still continued to stand near her. She didn't know what to do and shouted, "Let's get out of here." But they didn't listen to her. Behind the dogs, there were 3 guys. One of them said what he told her. "Beauty, where are you running? My dogs don't bite. They just want to play with her," the guy continued. She started waving her hand. The dogs began to rush at the girl. The owner of the dogs, seeing such a picture, simply stood and laughed. Then he said that if she plays with them this evening, his dogs will not play with her. "Play, you say," shouted Su Heng. He just came running after hearing the guy's last speech. Then he will play with this brick that the young man was holding in his hands. He ran up to one of the dogs and hit her with it with all his anger. The dog fell and lay motionless. The dog died. Su Heng addressed the boys, telling them to stay away from his sister. Then he spoke to the owner of the dogs. He thinks that if his father is the owner of the plantations, then he can do everything. The boys stood dumbfounded. Having come to his senses, the dog's owner looked at the lying dog and said, "My Charlie." He screamed, "How dare he hit him, Charlie?" Without hesitation, the guy turned to his second dog, ordering him, Jack, to gnaw him, pointing at the guy's throat. The dog took off and began to approach the guys. Seeing this, Su Qing shouted for little Heng to run, but he stood motionless. The dog immediately attacked Su Heng. At that moment, the animal sitting on the guy's shoulder began to roar. Its eyes lit up. Suddenly, he jumped straight at the dog and grabbed his neck. The dog fell. The little animal continued to bite his neck. Brother and sister did not expect this. Su Heng praised the baby. Then he told him to finish with him. It seems he was not averse to doing this. His dog. What an impudent fellow, the dog owner shouted. A knife appeared in his hand. His 2 friends also had such a thing with them. He shouted, "Let's finish him off." They ran towards the guys and the little animal. With a raised hand holding a knife, Su Heng stretched out his hand in front of him and said, "Dragon power." Purple smoke appeared near his little animal and began to move towards the guys with knives. The boys didn't understand what was happening. Then one of them answered, "Boss, this is a dragon with an evil element." The second guy thinks they better get away. Suddenly 3 men started approaching. The main one asked what was happening here. It turned out to be security. One of the guys suggested to the owner of the dogs, "Why not blame everything on these guys with the animal? We'll ask them to handcuff them, and they'll have time to leave." He thought about it. He has connections with the local police, so yes, it's not a bad idea. He will simply ask the guards to arrest this impudent man, and then it will make him look worse when he ends up in a prison cell. Su Ging stood behind her brother. The dog's owner's gaze was directed towards the girl. Bad thoughts visited her head. He thought that when he crippled the girl's brother, he would meet his little sister Su Qing right in front of his nose. After all, his dogs couldn't die in vain. "Isn't this coup?" said the senior guard. "Where are you going?" he asked, looking towards the guys who had a knife in their hands. "Brother Zheng," said the owner of the dogs. "This guy killed my dogs with particular cruelty, adding for no reason. Arrest him quickly and put him in a cell," pointing his finger at Su Heng. The senior guard gave an order to his subordinates to detain him. The guy who was holding the handcuffs said, "How dare he touch Mr. Ku's dogs? If he's a good boy, they won't hurt him." The junior guards began to approach the guys. Su Heng threw a brick on the floor, saying that he killed the dogs with this brick. If they have nothing to do, then ask him something. The security guard with a pistol in his hand, hearing this, shouted, "Boy, how dare he kill them, also in the middle of the street? It's okay. He'll definitely like it in the cell." Noticing the baby animal on the guy's shoulder, the guards got scared. The little pet began to go into defense mode, becoming very angry and ready for action. The guys stood there, not fully understanding whether it was really a tamer in front of them. "Here's another thing." Su Heng extended his hand forward, showing them something. It was a certificate with an emblem and the inscription tamer. "Look carefully." He turned to the guards. "Tamer, they definitely didn't expect this." "Boss," the guys shouted. The boss was thinking. Lately there have been rumors in their database about the burgomaster's second student. Is he really that same guy?
His hand lay on the pistol, which was in appeal.
Suddenly the man pulls out a weapon and shoots upward, having said, "What kind of impudence?" After that, he pointed his pistol towards the dog's owner, saying, "Ku Zhenyao. How dare he set up this murder so brazenly and arrogantly? Immediately handcuff them, and if they resist, shoot them immediately." Zheng Jun ordered his subordinates. Ku was puzzled. He was already standing in handcuffs. Captain Zhen shouting that he is the victim here is a mistake. Zhenjun, his father Ku Dingquan, is the owner of the number 5 plantation warehouse. He did him a favor, but did not finish. The captain hit him in the face so hard that his tooth fell out. He tried to escape, so let him receive blows with rods. The boss ordered his subordinates. Some kind of turmoil began between the guys. Mr. Su, who knew that he would set these dogs on. I'm glad that you reacted in time and fought them back. The captain turned to the guy. Su Heng said that the 3 of him showed up just in time. Mr. Su, what is he saying? The captain felt embarrassed. If these 3 fell into his hands, it would not end well for them. The captain asked if Mr. Su was satisfied. Hardly, the guy replied. Whether this guy dies after him or not, he will still take revenge on him as soon as he is released. I understand, sir, said the captain. Su Heng turned around and said, let's go, sis. It's okay, they're going home. Well, Su Qing said with relief. Having added, they go home. The man asked his subordinates, guys, what do you think is worse, to offend the owner of the plantation or to anger the master tamer? One of them said, there's nothing to think about. It's better not to anger the tamer. We are just small people compared to him. He doesn't want to die yet. The captain put his hand on his shoulder, saying, you're right, boy. The man gave an order to one of his subordinates to look for a carriage for them. He and Lao Dong would wait here, and then take these 3 to a cell, straight to the incinerator. We'll keep them there for now, and then... The captain fell silent. He showed a hand sign, making it clear that nothing good would happen with the guys. Meanwhile, the guys came to their parents' house. Su Qing said that she never thought that she would come back here again. It's so cool. The girl said with admiration and joy that it was as if she was in a dream. To this, the brother told her not to faint, and here are her keys to the house. Su Jing buying back our old house is just the beginning, it will be even better. His sister said she believed in him, clasping her brother's arm as he handed her the keys. Only the best awaits us ahead, she added. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Who is there? Asked Su Heng, opening the door. A man was standing on the street. He turned out to be the deputy director of plantation management, Guo. Hearing the conversation, Su Qing came out to her brother, asking the man why he came. It turned out that he received news from the police that Ku Dingquan's son had insulted Mr. Su. So I came to do them a favor. The deputy plantation manager said he planned to transfer him to the 30th plantation to plow the land and be a regular farmer. Although wild animals are rampant there, and from time to time all sorts of troubles happen. He thinks that Ku Dingquan, who was the leader, will be able to adapt to this. Asking Mr. Su if he was satisfied. The guy replied that he was glad that the director paid attention to this. The man continued to say that he heard that his sister seemed to be the senior agronomist in their plantation system. Therefore, she can be given a promotion to the position of deputy director in the agronomy department of their department. Su Ging couldn't understand. How is it that she is not at all suitable for this position, is she? The man began to assure the girl that she was suitable, because she was the sister of Mr. Su Heng, noting that if they need something, they can always contact him and ask for a favor. My sister said she would be happy to help. To which the man replied, it means everything is decided. Su Heng thought about it. It seems that as they become stronger, they have more and more privileges. The little beast sitting on the guy's shoulder made a sound. Su Heng poured something from the barrel into a bowl. It turned out to be food for the dragon. The guy came up to him, holding a bowl in his hands, and told him to take a piece. It was according to the mentor's recipe. This is good for him. He will eat, grow, and become stronger. But the kid didn't really like this idea. He made a sound. Su Heng began to study the teacher's book. Specifically, feed formulas for tamed animals. They are divided into poor quality, average, good, excellent, wonderful, ideal, and perfect. There are 8 of them in total. The food that the teacher gave them was of very good quality, just right for a young animal. The guy wondered why the baby stopped liking him immediately after the little animal tried him. He thought it might be the ingredients. A thought struck him, exactly, as stated in the rituals of the ancient dragons. He stood with a book in his hands, performing a suitable ritual near the baby's food. Light came from it. As soon as lizard dragons hatch, they immediately eat their own shell, and then may not eat for a long time. Caring for dragons, snakes, and lizards cannot be uniform. It must be focused on certain aspects. At the same time, dragons, snakes, and lizards are quite picky eaters. They prefer food in the form of living creatures. Continuing to study the book, the guy seemed to understand what the problem was. Putting his hand on the little animal's head, the young man said that he would go and look for a new recipe for him, adding that the teacher gives him a lot of money. Therefore, he does not need to limit the pet's food. Eat more and grow faster, baby. Over the next few days, Su Heng fed his snake lizard dragon, according to the recipe from the book of ancient dragon rituals. He ran to the market to buy food for the animal. The guy gave him fish. The kid really liked the new recipe. He ate with gusto. But this also led to a big problem. Only 5 days have passed. The money bag seems empty. The guy turned the bag over and a coin flew out. Although there were 2 coins, they were rolling around on the floor. Suddenly, one of them was covered by an animal's tail. It was the tail of a baby animal. It had grown up. It seems that the baby did not immediately understand what had happened. There is no money left. But, Su Heng said joyfully, his dragon has overcome the childhood stage and entered the adult stage. While the dragon was eating, the guy was thinking. If they had again encountered the dogs in battle, which then took a lot of strength and energy, then now it would not be difficult for his pet. He imagined a picture of a grown-up kid fighting in a battle with 2 dogs, getting ready to jump, bounce, and tore them to pieces. The young man thought that he could finish off such a beast in a couple of seconds, in one breath. With such durable scales, the average person with a firearm poses absolutely no threat, Su Heng concluded, touching the dragon with his hand. Even if there were 3 or 5 adult strong men armed, when faced with a snake dragon, they would be killed by it in a matter of seconds. Su Heng remembered that the teacher asked to find him in the castle when the dragon entered the adult stage. Surprisingly, only 5 days had passed since his pet was no longer a cub. Perhaps the recipe from the main book of dragons really belongs to the level of ideal or perfect. We have to be careful and keep it a secret. It would be good to stop frequent feeding with formula milk, at least for 10 days. It looks like the baby dragon will soon have to learn how to use his new skills. Lock. 10 days later, the guy knocks on the door while standing with the dragon in front of it. Come in, they heard from behind the door. Seeing the guy at the door, the teacher said that he had not seen him here for a long time. Asking that he was messing around, Su Heng began to say guiltily, "Sorry, teacher. He worked hard to develop the dragon. Therefore, I could not attend training." A dragon immediately appeared. "Thanks to your recipe, he has successfully reached the adult stage," the guy said. The master was amazed. "Really, that fast?" Thinking, the young man said that 10 days is not so fast, it seems. He asked what was wrong so quickly. The teacher hit the guy on the cheek. It took his 8th disciple Baisu a month for her beast to progress from the child stage to the adult stage. The master asked the guy how fast he still needed. Moreover, her ice lotus is 2 levels lower than his snake dragon. After what the teacher said and his reaction, the guy began to think that it would be better to grow without such a wild pace. Apparently, his dragon not only has outstanding fighting abilities, but also has unique growth potential. The teacher noticed. If he is already an adult dragon, he is probably already familiar with his new abilities. Now he has dragon strength of the 1st and 2nd degree, which are 2 types of skills. The dragon's power is intimidation and shock and awe. The breath of evil thought also rose to a new level and formed into a stream of evil thought. The guy listed the abilities of his dragon. The teacher couldn't believe how he was able to develop his dragon skills to such an extent in such a short time. Su Heng said that it was all thanks to his hard work with him, teacher. And then he thought, it's good that he didn't tell him about the mastered dragon dream, power of nature, and evil attack. The teacher said that he believed in him and did not doubt him, offering to go to his training room and see what he is now capable of. And so the burgomaster's private training ground. The teacher said, let his snake dragon lizard manifest itself in the best way. And if this is true, then he will give the young man the master's personal talisman. After all, the guy tried hard and went through many obstacles. Su Heng turned to the dragon. Don't let him down, baby. It depends on him whether he gets the talisman. The teacher's ring began to glow. It's starting. A huge stone armadillo bear appeared in front of them. Play with this, baby, the teacher gave the command to the summoned beast. The guy with the dragon was very surprised at the sight of the huge beast. The young man asked the teacher how many animals with the element of evil he still had. Every time he trains him, he calls out another one. To which the master replied that he was still weak. He had tamed only 10 to 20 animals of a high danger class. Only half of them are on the level of a rock bear or a lava tyrannosaurus. Come on, kid. The teacher told him to prove to him that he wants this talisman. He said to show him everything he can do. The time has come to see the results of his labors. The stone armadillo bear began to attack, letting out a stream of air from its mouth. It was hard for the guy with the dragon to resist, but they didn't give up. The dragon began to act. He began to use the dragon power, the holding barrier. Pink smoke began to form near the dragon, flying out to the sides like arrows. The teacher said it's not bad that his dragon at the growth stage can resist an already full-fledged individual. "Stop," the teacher suddenly said. The bear had been standing on 2 legs all this time, but now he sank down, standing on 4. The master told him to now attack with evil breath. Immediately, Su Heng commanded the snake dragon to use the stream of evil thoughts.
A ball began to form in the dragon's mouth, which he launched at the bear with a stream of air.
The master's beast stood still, taking the blow. The dragon ball hit the beast's head, but it seems that the bear did not feel this blow. The teacher asked the guy if he hadn't eaten enough porridge. This little ball is nothing more than a bear tickler. Su Heng stood there as if he was planning something. He said, "Snake dragon, use the stream of evil thoughts, pearl of evil." The little animal's eyes were filled with determination and readiness. And then it began. The kid began the attack, releasing balls one after another, which flew at the bear. They hit the head of the beast. He growled in pain. Such blows slightly hurt the bear's armor. The bear growled. The teacher turned to the animal. He was surprised by what was happening. The master praised the guy. He didn't think that he had studied the evil breath technique so well, where he used the accumulation of dark energy and was able to create a real series of shots like bullets, constructing a series of precise attacks. Su Heng felt awkward. In fact, there is another evil pearl technique that attacks so precisely that the enemy cannot dodge. But attacks of this level would not be able to penetrate the stone bear's armor. The teacher was pleased with the guy's attacks. He extended his hand, holding the ring in his palm. This talisman ring is now a guise. It cannot accommodate many animals, like the teacher's, but it can still accommodate 5. The master specified that there is enough space in the ring to accommodate 5 animals, but if his tamed animals make room a little, then even 10 can be accommodated. Su Heng was happy and thanked the teacher. It's too early to rejoice. Although the guy has developed his technique and magic control quite well, the dragon's combat experience is 0. Real fights are the best way to increase it. The teacher decided to send the guy to the northern sector of the defense, where there will be a good opportunity to fight with dangerous species of animals. With his hand on Su Heng's shoulder, the teacher said that in 3 days he must report to the military headquarters and inform, and someone there will give him an assignment. Behind Blacklight's high walls are 4 defensive lines that guard the entire base. Each section of the defensive lines consists of military camps and many animal tamers, together with specially trained military personnel with firearms. The southern and northern borders are the most dangerous. Battles with dangerous species take place here almost every day. Most of the materials in the city related to dangerous animal species were also the results of the hunts of the 4 main frontiers. Within 3 days, Su Heng had withdrawn an advance payment for the next month of Tamer's benefits, amounting to a whopping 250,000 yuan. He felt awkward taking it away. He spent most of this amount on purchasing ingredients to feed his dragon, and also 3 whole days to prepare these ingredients in formulas in order to preserve the food for as long as possible. By agreement with the military headquarters, Su Heng went to the northern border, Post 7, as a member of the team. The car moved. The 4 defensive lines on the base were created in large part for the plantations located in these wild places. The area of land from which crops can be harvested is limited. The total harvest of 7 plantations within the gathering cannot satisfy the needs of 50-60,000 people living in the city. Working on plantations outside the city is second only to joining search parties in terms of danger. This is also one of the most dangerous industries that residents of the base try to avoid. If the guy's memory serves me correctly, Ku Dingquan, the head of Plantation Number 5, was assigned to Plantation No. It was located in the security zone of the northern defense line. The car was approaching its destination. They punched into place. Su Heng got out of the car. The driver addressed him, saying that they had arrived at the 7th observation point. I wished the guy good luck, and he must return and report his arrival. The arrival of the young man was seen by local boys. They were surprised whether the chief of staff had really brought the newcomer. The second one asked if he hadn't heard that this was a master tamer. His luggage was literally filled with rations for tamed animals. The guys went to help the newcomer carry things. Running up to the young man, Mr. Su Heng shouted. Taking his luggage, they asked how he could carry his things alone. They will help him if he doesn't mind. One of the guys who ran up said that his last name was Huang, and that the guy could call him Xiao Huang. From now on, the safety of the 7th point depends only on him, Su Heng said in response. Why such politeness? He is older than him, so he will call him Huang Ge. The man was touched. For the first time he met a non-pompous master tamer. More men ran up to the car to help carry the guy's supplies. They will try to finish quickly and arrange a feast for Mr. Su. There are only 29 guard posts on the northern border. Su Heng must report on the situation at the 7th guard point. The men carried the guy's things while going up the stairs. More than 10 years ago, it was blown to pieces by a dangerous species flying past, which did not leave a single survivor at the guard post. Later, the entire modern guard post number 7 was rebuilt on the ruins. This will be the place where Su Heng will burst into his first real fight. He entered the room. One of the men began to put food into a bowl.
It was Huang Ge. He approached the guy with food, saying, "Mr. Su, try a Wan's dish." Although they did not have special conditions for preparing delicious food, his cooking was simply excellent.
The young man was sitting at the table. He asked Huang Ge to call him by name. After all, they are comrades in arms. It will be too strange if he addresses the guy as Mr. Su. Repeat picture, folder 3. To which the man replied, "The master tamer is a very important person, so he will also call him Su Ge." The young man laughed and said, "Well, the man will call him Su Ge, then the guy will call him Huang Ge, and at the same time, everyone thinks about their own." Suddenly, the young man said that he would like to ask, "Do they often encounter dangerous species of animals?" One of the guys, taking a bite of food, began to explain that here they are on the middle line, so the pressure on the defense is less than at more distant posts. But at the same time, there are a lot of fish here that can slip through the net. The guy didn't immediately understand. He turned around and saw a bunch of dangerous animals that the men had caught over the past few days. At the middle and end of each month, a military officer and a team from the city come to visit them. They are responsible for transporting rare resources and counting rewards. The animals caught were of different species. In response to what he saw and heard, Su Heng said, "It is indeed very difficult without a tamed beast." One of the guys sitting at the table wondered what the Su Ge beast could do and whether he would show it to them. Huang Ge was outraged, but how could one of them dare to ask something like that? It's not according to the rules. Suddenly, Su Heng raised his hand up where the ring was on his finger and said, "Appear the snake dragon." He appeared floating in the air. The guys were very surprised and a little scared. They did not expect to see an animal that belonged to the most dangerous species. The dragon sank to the floor, and here is his tamed beast, the serpentine dragon. The guy said with admiration, turning to the couple, that his first tamed beast was the most dangerous species. It's so cool. After what the guy said, the dragon suddenly began to attack him, using the dragon power technique. Shock and awe. The guy was scared. Su Heng reacted quickly, lightly striking the dragon with the back of his palm. He told him not to dare to attack ours. No manners. After which Su Ge approached Xiao Hu and asked if he was okay after what happened. The guy assured that everything was fine, noticing that the beast is very strong. Su Ge is a great master. Meanwhile, Xiao Hu's comrades burst into laughter, not believing that he was okay, because they saw how the guy was very scared. It was getting dark. Northern border, post. Night has come. It was quiet and calm. After eating, Su Heng met the other 5 brothers at the post. They were talking, and the dragon was next to them. Later, the guy and his beast went into the room. The dragon fell asleep. The young man, after a short recovery, on the advice of his mentor, began to train the power of the mind using the spiritual hammer technique. The method that his teacher advised him is called crystal mind. It consists of 3 stages. First, you need to remove all distractions, creating crystalline purity around yourself for meditation. It's like meditating on a giant crystal. The second stage is working with a specific breathing rhythm, when the mind gradually becomes one with the meditative environment. Light began to appear around the guy. The third stage with the underlying spiritual hammer method. Continuing to meditate, a stream of wind began to swirl near the young man, lifting his outer clothing above the floor. Su Heng finished meditating. With his current progress, it would only take him half a year to achieve a crystal clear mind. He looked at the palms. As, in general, the teacher said, he thought. The guy sat and looked at the moon, thinking, such a monster like Sister Bai Su had refined her mind to crystal purity in just a month or so. Suddenly the siren went off. Su Heng heard it and knew it was an alarm. His door opened. Huang Ge shouted, "Su Ge, hurry up, it's time to get down to business." Night. The moon is shining. There was movement in the sky. These were big animals flying. Someone was looking at them as if through a gun sight. It was Su Heng looking through binoculars. He suggested that the flying animals in the sky are a dangerous species of the 2nd rank. A club-footed beetle. Instead of paws, it has armored sickle claws that can easily split cobblestones. The guy turned to the man and said, "This is a dangerous species of the 2nd rank, a scythe beetle." The scythe beetle is the most common type of animal in their sector. Although these insects reproduce quickly, killing 4 at once is not a problem. Armed and gathered in one place, all team members were ready for battle. Huang Ge and Lao Yu will be at the machine gun position of the watchtower. Avan will take the forward sniper position on the northwest side. Xiao Hu and Xiao Lu will guard the 5th and 6th shooting ranges on the first level. "Guys, let's help Suge finish off these flying creatures," said Huang Ge. The guys shouted yes in one voice. Shot. The fired bullet flew towards its target. The flying animals fell to the ground. A dangerous type of ability is perception. Technique. Applying armor. The bullet that flew did not hit the beast itself, but the armor that it had placed around itself. Small cracks appeared at the site of the impact. The bullet itself was slightly flattened. Starting to shoot with another weapon, the beetle's armor was broken. Huang Ge fired a machine gun. By cutting off the heads of dangerous beasts, the defenders do not receive any military awards. The scythe beetle's best skill is applying armor, which is not particularly effective, but significantly weakens the effect of regular bullets. The machine gun continued to fire. Su Heng thought about it. He looked up the mountain, where he saw a sniper, continuously firing a machine gun. He could create a good opportunity for him to kill the beetle. The guy looked through binoculars to find and better see the beast. He saw one. The scythe beetle has already placed armor around itself. They continuously fired at her from a machine gun. For the first seconds, nothing happened to her. But after a while, the beetle's armor began to crack and fly into pieces. Meanwhile, the sniper was waiting for the armor to be broken. He got ready. The defender fired. The bullet flew towards its target. She blew off the head of a dangerous beast. Su Heng watched all this. Thinking this way, this is the battlefield of the northern border. The guys who were in the machine gun position of the tower continue to shoot. Although they are not master tamers, they fight skillfully. Their understanding of the situation and their skills, honed in repeated battles, are enough to provide all the necessary combat power. The sniper also continued to fire bullets at the animals. Almost all the animals were defeated, thanks to the well-coordinated work of the guys. The security guy noticed that one scythe beetle was running away. Huang Ge shouted Xiao Hu, "Su Ge, let's finish him off together." They ran to the car, at full speed to catch up with the beast. Xiao Hu took a seat behind the weapon, which was peeking out from the roof of the car. Huang Ge skillfully drove the car at high speed. Su Ge sat on the side. They almost caught up with the dangerous beast. They were not traveling far from it. Having approached closer, the man behind the wheel began to make a circle around the beast. The scythe beetle stood motionless. He looked straight at the guys. The car stopped opposite the beast at a short distance. Su Ge began to emerge from it. He moved a little away from the car towards the beast. Has stopped. Meanwhile, Huang Ge gave Xiao Hu the command to look beyond the inner border. Everyone there is gilded. You need to be on your guard. It looks like it's about to start. The guy extended his hand, which had a ring on it, and it lit up. Su Heng summoned his dragon. First, let's see what happens to the beetle after the evil attack, he thought. The dragon flew out of the ring, moving towards the dangerous beast. Using the evil attack technique, he was getting closer and closer to the beetle. The scythe beetle placed armor around itself. The dragon flew at the beetle, breaking through it. He flew away, scuffing the ground a little. He stopped and lay there for a moment. Then he began to rise, making a sound. It looks like his armor works really well that he was able to repel the attack and take almost no damage. Su Heng commands the snake dragon to use the stream of evil thoughts, the pearl of evil. He began to attack the beetle, launching balls at it one after another. They fell into the armor of a dangerous beast. At first, nothing happened to her, but a little later, damage appeared at the impact sites. Su Heng wondered how thick his skin was. Suddenly, the beetle's armor shattered into pieces. He was left without protection. The dragon continued to attack. Su Ge asked the dragon to use shock and awe. His gaze and eyes were full of determination. He looked at the beetle with readiness to act. The scythe beetle stood there, either puzzled or scared. The dragon prepared to attack the beetle with renewed vigor. Making a sound, he flew at the beetle, hitting it, but not finishing it off. The beetle did not fall, it held on. After such an attack, the scythe beetle began to run away. "You can't run away," Su Heng commanded, "the power of the earth." The dragon began a new attack. A stream passed along the ground, which caused the appearance of sharp stones that looked like rocks. They pierced the beetle right through, leaving no chance to live. The guys in the car were surprised. They clearly didn't expect to see this. Xiao Hu noticed that it seems that Su Ge doesn't need their help. Huang Ge was amazed by this sight. Morning, northern border post. Xiao Hu tells his comrades about what happened. When he heard Su Ge shout, "Power of the earth." And then, right out of the ground, these spears pierced this beetle, like an ordinary pumpkin. Huang Ge, placing his hand on Su Ge's shoulder, began to say how he used to think that the guy, like all newcomers, simply decided to get rich. But now the man is very impressed with the young man. Having said that, he is really cool. Sugo was embarrassed. He said, "Oh well, everyone tried their best." A guard ran up to them, shouting, "Huangge, someone is coming here." The two of them decided to go have a look. The guys climbed higher to have a better view. They saw cars approaching them. This was a command convoy. Usually, when counting military supplies, the command arrives here only at noon, after visiting each guard tower and post. But today they arrived earlier for some reason. Su Heng began to guess who it might be. Cars were already passing the post. A man got out of one of the cars. It was the commander-in-chief of the Northern Defensive Line, Lu Ling. Huang Ge and his comrade standing nearby met and greeted the commander-in-chief. Lu Ling said Huang Chengju, "Long time no see," that he's still the same. The man was flattered. He couldn't even think that he remembered him. "The commander-in-chief came through such a difficult journey on purpose to work with us," the man said. To which he replied, "Oh well, it's less than a 10-minute drive from the barrier to here. It's not such a difficult path." He approached Su Heng to find out if he was getting used to the new place. The guy turned to him, saying that he needed to report. Lu Ling came closer to the young man, placing his hand on his shoulder. Not understanding a bit, he began to report that he had met all his fellow service members and began to adapt to life here. Then Lu Ling said that there was no need to speak to him so formally. The teacher told him that he had taken on a new, very talented student. He also heard the boss's words that Suge didn't see him, and when he came to the headquarters, they missed each other the last time, because the young man went to exterminate dangerous animals. But he decided to come again to see the master's student in person. The guy's comrades, hearing this, could not believe that the commander-in-chief had really come to their tiny post for the sake of Su Heng. Huang Ge thought that the guy was an ordinary master. He had no idea that the young man was the burgomaster's personal student. It was lucky that the guy didn't do any harm during this time. Suddenly, the commander turned to the guys so that they could sum up the results of the battles over the last half-month at the post, and not interfere with him and Su Heng. After which, he told the guy to call the snake dragon. The mentor instructed him to come and monitor his development, so that he could report everything to the master later. The young man thought that his mentor had forgotten about him as soon as he left the city, but it turned out that the teacher had already sent his spy. Su Heng began to summon the beast. "Come out, serpentine dragon." He immediately flew out of the guy's ring. The commander-in-chief, seeing the dragon, was very surprised. The beast sank to the ground. Handsome. Lu Ling asked the guy that didn't his dragon hatch a little less than a month ago. He replied that his dragon had grown very quickly since he learned to use dragon magic. "Is there something wrong, brother?" the guy asked, seemingly not understanding anything. "No, that's all true." Having said that, his beast grew even more in its time. The mentor asked Lu Ling to find out how well the guy had honed his dragon's fighting skills. And since he has his own tamed dragon, he allows him to check the young man's animal. He calls the beast, telling him to go out and have fun with this kid. A huge horned earth dragon appeared next to him. The horned earth dragon is a dangerous species with two bloodlines, earth and draconic, with the same racial rank as the dragon snake lizard. He was bred by Lu Ling to the level of a full-fledged dangerous species. Thanks to his thick skin and horns, he is able to hold his own against rank 2 beasts at the end of his growth for a short period of time. This is one of the main advantages of the commander-in-chief. The beast came closer and touched the forehead of the dragon Su Heng with its claw. The little animal looked at the guy pleadingly, making it clear that he did not want to play. He was scared. Su Heng immediately asked the guy to tell the beast to be gentler, otherwise he would simply trample his dragon. He will trample? He was surprised. Lu Ling assured that his dragon knows when to stop, and that he will not harm the baby. "Okay then," Suge replied. "Get started." Lu Ling turned to his beast. "It seems that the snake dragon has not woken up yet. The horned dragon, let's wake it up with a small earthquake." The beast began to act. The ground began to crack, moving like a wave towards the guy and his little animal. It could hardly be called a small earthquake. They definitely didn't expect this. The young man thought about it. Levitation. The advantage of being able to control spiritual power after training the power of the mind. But now there is no time to think about it. After which, Su Heng commanded the dragon to use an evil attack and dodge the blows. He began to fly up with his front paws, grabbing the guy by the shoulders, lifting him up. The dragon carried him away from the place of attack by that beast. Once on the ground, Sugai turned to the dragon to use the Pearl of Evil against the horned dragon. He began to attack him, continuously firing magic balls at him. But this did not affect the beast in any way because it has very strong skin. Expecting that a serpentine dragon will defeat a horned one is just a dream. But even playing beautifully would be cool. All I can do, Su Heng thought, is to show the results of the dragon development that I have achieved over the entire time. And not to disappoint the teacher, who is so worried, being tens of kilometers away from me. He again turned to the dragon, saying that his advantage is speed. Surround him with pearls of evil. The guy's dragon flew to attack the beast, circling above him and launching her magic balls at him. Later he made one big enough ball, and he threw it in a stream at the back of the beast. At the sight of the impact, the skin became slightly red. Suga shouted to the little beast to now use the power of the earth to restore. The dragon lizard sank to the ground, and he used the technique to recover. The animals stood at a short distance opposite each other. The power of the dragon is the dance of the earth. Su Heng gave the command to the little animal. He began to attack the horned earth dragon, releasing a magical stream along the ground in his direction. Sharp stones like spears appeared near the huge beast. They didn't hurt him, but they seemed to make him angry. The horned beast was ready to respond to such impudence. There was no need to anger him. Now it's his turn. He launched a magical stream along the ground at the lizard dragon. From such a blow it flew off into the distance. Seeing this, Suga ran towards him, shouting, "Snake dragon!" He was lying on the ground. Lu Ling laughed. "Not a bad tactic, brother," he said. "But his dragon's strength is already at the 9th level, so he doesn't care about the earth dance of the snake dragon." Suja asked if he didn't tell him to use everything he could so as not to disappoint the teacher. The commander-in-chief said guiltily that he didn't want to offend him. It really looks like that, but he just already understands what snake lizard dragons are capable of. Lu Ling walked up to the guy and put his hand on his shoulder. He said, "Not bad. I think the teacher will be very pleased." They started walking. The guy turned to Su Heng, saying that his snake dragon was developing much faster than his was developing. Their teacher really took on a very talented student. Soon after the commander-in-chief's departure, winter came. It was wildly cold at the guard post. The walls are not as high and strong as those at their base, which can provide shelter from the winter cold. The guys went to bed in sleeping bags. One of them could not sleep. He was very cold. And this is just the beginning of winter. He should become a master tamer. He has a spiritual cover. He is warm. Suddenly the siren went off. Huanga rushed over and shouted, "Faster! Anxiety!" When the door opened, a security guard ran in, saying that guard post number 3 in the northern part had called. Plantation number 25 was attacked by a group of dangerous species. Huanga, together with 2 comrades, will go on call from the 3rd post. The rest of the guys will guard the house. The guys shouted and ran to their places. They were driving along a winter night road. According to Captain L, the situation is really serious now, since almost the entire 25th plantation has been completely captured. More than 20 individuals of a dangerous species, and at least 5 of a less dangerous species, entered the territory. Meanwhile, all plantation workers are now locked in the staff quarters. They have about a dozen broken guns with which they somehow fight back, but it's only a matter of time before the animals get inside. They are going to gather support for all patrol base posts 3 and 4 in the northern sector, and also the main forces that will almost completely come out to defend the plantation. Collection must be completed by 4 a.m. since the attack will begin exactly at this time. "Xiaohu, it's already 3:40, drive faster," said to the guy Huang Ge. Plantation number 25, post number 3, gate cars were approaching the assembly point. The guy's car stopped at the checkpoint. They were asked to report. Huang Ge introduced himself by name, and the guys from post number 7 on the northern line arrived at the appointed place. The guy at the post asked them to quickly stop by while he transmitted information via radio. In the car, the guys turned on the radio, selecting the desired wave. They heard that reconnaissance had been carried out. The animals are now in the grain area. All survivors have been moved to staff quarters and are now on the defensive, strengthening their defenses. All fighting units, all vehicles will line up in the shape of a spear. 2 armored vehicles will be used as spear tips, directly attacking and opening fire on the plantation dormitory building. On the radio, the guys heard that the dangerous species that invaded here are poisonous wolves. They are resistant to attacks and can easily bite off their heads. Defenders were urged to be attentive. Armored vehicles that looked like tanks began to shoot. They aimed at dangerous animals, hitting their target. There was a wolf standing on a hill, most likely the leader. He made a sound. The rest of the wolves were below, running somewhere, heading somewhere. Suga said, "Xiaohu, something is wrong. Pull back a little." Huanga asked how he was, turning to the guy. Su Heng said that the man also heard that wild howl. Suja had heard from his teacher that a dangerous species like a poisonous wolf could evolve into the ultimate form of an alpha wolf. The guys continued driving when they saw that something was wrong. The wolves began to move away, as if thinking about something. Sujia guessed that it must be their leader who is guiding them. It is not surprising that so many individuals broke through the fortifications. Poison wolf skill. Poison mist. The alpha wolf was sitting on a hill, watching and causing such fog. It spread, occupying more and more territory. The defenders did not all understand what it was, but someone shouted, it was a poisonous fog. The guys heard on the radio that they needed to turn on the infrared sight, be alert, and not miss their teammates. Suga said to the guy behind the wheel that it's not so easy to drive back. Huang Ge said to Suga, look. From the car window they saw that a large wolf ran up to one of the cars. He pierced and scratched the roof of the car with his claws. The driver was alive, but scared. The car turned over on its side, and other wolves ran up to it. Su Heng, only his companion, the shadow wolf, explained this. The special ability of the leader of poisonous wolves is Shadow Double, which means there is another leader here. Huang Ge, holding a weapon in his hand, shouted that he was approaching. The shadow wolf began to run after the guy's car. Running up to her, he pushed her, knocking out the side window. The fragments scattered, most of which flew into the car. The car was still moving forward. It was hard for Huang Ge, but despite this, the man still continued to shoot at the huge beast through the broken window. No matter how hard he tried, he could not penetrate his armor. The big wolf jumped up the mountain, putting out a paw with sharp claws. He swung with all his might and scratched off part of the roof and the side of the car with his claws. The beast stared at Suge with its mouth open. It shouted as a snake dragon. The dragon appeared in front of the guy, ready to attack. He began to use the shock and awe dragon power technique. The wolf and the dragon looked at each other. They were ready to start attacking and defend themselves. The dragon further applied the stream of evil thoughts technique. Pearl of Evil, attacking the wolf by shooting a stream of magic balls at it. Having received a continuous dose of shots, the huge wolf fell. He lay motionless. The end has come for him. Through communication, Su Heng contacted the commander, introducing himself to him and asking him to cease fire in order to avoid accidental injuries. He wants to take on the leader of the poisonous wolves. The commander looked through binoculars, observing what was happening. It's not surprising because this is the burgomaster's student. He already has such strength, although he is still at the learning stage. Everyone, cease fire to support military vehicle number 10 in the northern sector, the communications commander said. He told the guy that the leader of the poisonous wolves was on him. They'll take care of the rest. Okay, the guy answered. He jumped off the car. The guys were already walking, trying to find and see the leader of the wolves. Visibility was poor, and there was very thick fog. Suddenly, Huang Ge said, Suga, look over there, pointing in the direction with his finger. Seeing the wolf and what he does, the guy was ready to act. The leader of the wolves was tearing up the car. The security guard who was near the car began to run away, asking for help. The wolf saw the ego. Suga shouted, get away from him, you beast. He commanded the snake dragon to use the evil attack technique. The dragon began to attack the leader of the wolves. He ran into him. From the blow he received, the wolf began to fall, but he quickly got up. He stood behind the guy who was asking for help. He began to thank Suge for saving him. After all, he thought that he would die. The guy didn't notice the wolf from behind. Su Heng shouted at him to run and not stand there. And then the wolf pierced the guy with his claw. He was not a tenant. He no longer needed help. Suga and his dragon definitely did not expect this. They seemed dumbfounded for a moment. When he came to his senses, the snake dragon shouted, use Earth Dance! He sank to the ground, starting to attack the wolf, launching a magical stream across the ground. Poison Wolves' ability is Sinister Strike. Sharp stones like spears did nothing to the wolf. He launched his attack at them, after which the wolf began to run away. Su Heng shouted a great opportunity. Xiao Hu, shoot him. The guys immediately began firing bullets at the target. The bullets flew in the direction of the wolf. He stopped, ready to attack or defend. The fired bullets either flew past or hit the wolf. Suddenly a snake dragon flew at him, biting him, but it did not help. Suga suspected that the wolf would try to escape. He commanded the dragon to use shock and awe. Rising upward, the dragon began to attack the wolf again. Dragon power. He was ready to strike. He flew straight at the wolf. From the force of the blow, he began to fall. This was the end of it. The guy's car was in motion. They were returning home. Suga was depressed. Huangge turned to him, asking how he was. He replied that everything was fine. He was just thinking. Huangge began to say that in the past, master tamers were not usually brought in for invasions of this magnitude. But if it weren't for the guy, there would have been at least twice as many losses. That this time, the young man really saved them. The man showed the scar to the young man that he had had since he first fought to save the plantations. He began to remember that that battle was much more terrible than this one. More than 50 people were killed and injured. The armored vehicle was smashed into scrap metal by a huge steel gorilla in mature form. The then commander-in-chief of the Northern Front personally killed the beast and ended that bloody battle. Huang Ge handed the guy a flask, telling him to drink a little. It will become easier. He took it and thanked his comrade for it and for his support. Huang Ge said, "It's inevitable. They are ordinary people, and no one can guarantee that they will fall asleep today and wake up tomorrow and see the sun. Only if they were master tamers would they have the ability to control their own destiny." Su Heng listened to the man carefully, after which he put his hand on his shoulder, saying that there is no need to think about such things. Upon returning home, he just wants to eat the food that Avon prepared for them. There was laughter in the car. The guys decided to eat more food, so that he would even get tired of cooking for them. The battle to save the plantation was the first time Su Heng came face to face with death. He seemed like a real fighter. The guy realized that only constant effort can help preserve himself and protect others in this chaotic world. Over the next month, Su Heng began special training for himself and the dragon in accordance with the rituals of the ancient dragons, and achieved remarkable results. In addition to the fact that the snake dragon increased in size, its mastery of the 3 elements increased 100-fold. He learned new skills, improved them, and also enhanced the effects. Just as Su Heng was deep in training, his old acquaintance, the commander-in-chief, arrived at the 7th post. He greeted the guy while sitting astride a lion. Super dangerous species, fiery, magical lion. Su Heng was delighted by what he saw, thinking how cool it was. I wonder if he can ride his dragon. Getting off the lion, Lu Ling approached the guy. He heard that last time he participated in the Battle of the Plantation, he performed very well on the battlefield, and was even praised by the commander. Suga noticed, because the 3rd brother said that he should come here every month. Has a month already passed since he was last here? The commander-in-chief had a couple of free days, so he decided to visit Suge now, so as not to ruin his plans later. Lu Ling turned to the guy to summon his snake dragon lizard to train him and catch up. Suga was a little uncomfortable, but he agreed. "Come on, snake dragon." The guy called his beast. He appeared standing next to the guy. Since their last meeting, the dragon has grown and become stronger. Lu Ling didn't expect to see such a big dragon. He was very surprised. How quickly he grows. I even asked the guy if he had the perfect formula, to which he said that he always used the formula that the teacher gave him, suggesting that maybe she just suits his beast well. The commander-in-chief could not say anything. Lu Ling asked the guy to take the beast back, saying that he no longer needs to experience it. According to the teacher, once the snake dragon reaches the middle stage of growth, the youth's training on the Northern Front will end. For a guy, this was unexpected to hear. Hearing this, his comrades were upset. Huang Ge told the guy that they couldn't let him go so quickly. They won't be able to sleep anymore if he leaves, to which the guy said seriously, maybe then he should ask the dragon to sit with them. Suge began jokingly. Huang Ge said that it was not him, it was Oven, immediately turning all the arrows on his comrade. Su Heng continued to joke, saying that the boys would now run around with his little lizard before going to bed. The next day, Blacklight training room. Su Heng lay on the floor, telling the man standing next to him that he couldn't take it anymore. He praised the guy for being able to hold out for so long. This means that the young man really was not lazy. It was Lin Fu, General Manager Zhou He, expert in the field of spiritual improvement of the mind. The owner of the castle entered the room. Lin F. Wu congratulated him on taking a good student. Although he is not as talented as his first sister, he is very persistent. This month I used the spiritual hammer method. The master turned to the guy. He didn't think that his internship would end so quickly in just a month. But I think it was still a difficult experience and an exciting event for him. He felt embarrassed. Su Heng told the teacher that he worked hard. The growth and spiritual development of his beast was clearly felt through cultivation and training. For the guy, this turned out to be much better than when he sat for 3 years waiting for even the slightest progress from his egg, experiencing failures. Can such an experience be called difficult for him? The master told the student that the fact that his snake dragon lizard had been trained and raised to such a high level exceeded the teacher's expectations and gave him more confidence in the guy's future success. Su Heng asked the teacher that he had already agreed to transfer him to another military post. No, but he wants the guy to take part in the Six Lands tournament next month. This tournament is held once a year and is a dueling tournament held by each of the 6 major bases. It is believed that this is just an ordinary tournament, but in fact it is held for the opportunity to get into the ruins of the bloody forest. The guy didn't understand why he needed these particular ruins, not knowing that they are very different from the usual ruins that can be found throughout their wilderness. From the outside, these same ruins are separated by a hidden energy barrier that makes them impregnable. The ruins themselves are occupied by an extremely powerful and terrifying racial group of beasts. And the owner of this secret place is a creature of terrifying strength and power. When 6 representatives from each base joined forces and attacked him, the beast was forced to come to an agreement with the pioneers. He then promised to open the secret lands once a year, allowing 3 master tamers to enter and explore them, holding the 6 lands tournament. After hearing this, the guy had questions. He started asking them to the teacher, to which the master laughed and told the guy not to worry. The area open to people by the master of the Blood Forest ruins is also only the outer part of the ruins. The inner perimeter and core are not completely open. This is a treasure for new tinkerers, but less attractive to true experts. After listening to the teacher, Su Heng promised to definitely try, to which the master supported him. Besides the guy, 4 more will compete this time. Tomorrow the mentor will arrange for the young man to meet and get to know them. After which, Su Heng will begin new special training. Suju asked the teacher where he would undergo this very training. In the grizzly forest, the teacher said. The guy was surprised and a little scared, not believing his ears. In the southern section of the defense line, south of the vast wilderness, there is a large black forest. It occupies an extremely vast territory, and it's called Grizzly Forest. There are an astonishing number of bears living there, with a body 4 meters long and weighing a ton. They were not included in the ranks of dangerous creatures simply because they were unable to use energy. But sometimes bears appear, so amazing with their combat power that even the masters are afraid of them. They fully deserve the reputation of being the ones who can stop a baby crying at night. Su Heng asked the teacher that isn't the grizzly forest a dangerous place, to which the master replied that he would understand this when he was there. And before that, he should get himself in order. The purchased parental home of Su Heng and his sister. The cash allowance of 250,000 steel coins has almost been spent. You will have to wait even more than half a month for the next benefit payment. There were only 2 coins on the table. To maintain the dragon's current growth rate, there should be no shortage of food, the guy thought. Pushing the advance forward each time is not a long-term solution. Looks like it's time to find a way to make money. In fact, tamers have many ways to make money, Su Heng thought. Healing pet tamers are capable of healing illnesses and wounds. They have a good income. Pets associated with vegetation can increase yield. Good pay too. Water and electric pet tamers also collect resources. But with the help of the ancient dragon, a more effective way can be found. The guy was thinking. Trade market, gathering place for black lanterns. The guy was walking around the market. Initially, he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity, but he didn't find anything all day. Suddenly, he turned his attention to a man who was shouting, "We'll buy back black fat at a high price." He walked up to the counter. He tapped his finger on the table, drawing attention to himself. The guy asked the man sitting at the table that he was the one buying the black fat, true at a high price. Looking at the magazine, he asked what product he had. The guy said he just wanted to ask why they needed it. The man told the guy that he shouldn't care what it was for. If he has a product, he will buy it. And if not, then he should leave and not interfere with business. Su Heng saw that 1 milliliter of black thick fat is equal to 83 coins. Then it turns out that 1 liter is 83,000 coins. The guy did not expect that someone would buy black fat at such a high price. Looks like the guy found a way to get rich. Remembering that according to the ancient dragon's records, the mucus from the surface of the black octopus, dark oak resin and thickener are mixed in proportion at high temperature for 75 minutes. This is how black thick fat turns out. All that remains is to figure out the thickener, and the guy can make money. Evening, Su Heng's house, light in the window, in the room. The young man was already doing something. Xiaoxi, pressed twice. The guy turned to the dragon. Wood was burning in the iron stove. The dragon gave into the air. Su Heng poured something into the pot of liquid, saying ready. Among the 13 departments of the 5 bureaus where black lanterns are collected, there is one institution with a special status. Their function is to study dangerous creatures and strange energy phenomena. The research department runs 3 institutes that purchase the black thick fat in bulk. The guy began pouring the finished liquid into containers. The young man thought about it. Selling can bring in a lot of money, but if he immediately floods the market with so much black fat, he will have to be very careful. Ebony tree is a rare species. It grows extremely slowly. Some herbivorous species like to eat their young branches and leaves. From one such meter-high tree, you can collect no more than a few tens of milliliters per year. So the best thing to do would be to find a store, sell, and run away. Su Heng walked around the market looking for the right place. He saw something and stopped. He noticed the sign Hong Trading House. Exactly what is needed. The young man went inside the building. He opened the bag of resin. Having put everything on the table, he said, 30 liters, 250,000 coins. He asked what you would buy. The woman behind the counter was a little puzzled. She said, sure. The woman wanted to inquire, asking where the guy got so much from. She was surprised at the number of containers with resin she saw. Suddenly he held a knife to her neck, telling her that it was better not to ask. He left. The door slammed shut. You can't spend this money now. It's better to go to the fortress and exchange a small amount of ingredients. We have to wait until everything calms down. Walking down the street, the guy thought. At the same time, he will be able to meet with his teammates.
Fortress in one of the rooms.
Wang Shun Tamer. I knew Su Heng. They participated in special training together. Controlled animal, medium threat, adult mountain lion. The lord of the castle wanted him to become captain in the competition, said another guy. Luo Chong. A tamer from a wealthy family. Controlled beasts. Red-scaled dinosaur of medium danger level. Blood wolf of medium danger level in the last stage of development. Last year, the captain was Lu Han, who finished 4th. Before him, Bai Susu was the captain. He became the champion in the 6th competition. The girl named Rana, a tamer, was broadcasting, currently the strongest. Controlled beasts, iron magic trees, and sleeping butterflies of medium danger level. Does Luo Chong really doubt the owner's decision? Asked the girl sitting at the table. Even their teacher will not dare to disobey his master. They are all familiar with Su Heng. But they must admit that they underestimated the guy. His main pet is of the highest danger level. None of them have a beast of even a high danger level. Isn't that already enough to explain their break with him? Su Heng has arrived. The owner turned out to be busy, but he can meet with his comrades who also came. The manager invited the guys to introduce themselves to each other and chat. And he will leave so as not to disturb the youth. The door slammed shut. Began. Wang Shun said that the captain has arrived. Yes, the captain with only one beast, her laughter. Rana supported him. Su Heng stood silently. He had nothing to say. Oppressive atmosphere. A girl sitting at the table turned to Su Heng. Her name is Lin Yuxin. She became a tamer a little over a year ago. Now she only has 2 pets. Flower ghost tiger and electro swallow of medium danger level. Su Heng introduced himself in response. 2 months ago, he became a tamer. He has only one pet, a snake dragon. This is a lizard of the highest level of danger. One of the guys said cool, taunting. The guy said that Luo Chong was right. Su Heng is much better than him. The guy was hurt by this. He began to get angry. Stronger than me. Let's check it out then. A red-scaled dinosaur, he called to his beast. A huge beast with sharp claws appeared. The dinosaur stood next to Luo Chong. He asked Suge why he was so scared. Su Gu thought about it. Compared to this bruiser, the snake lizard dragon really has little chance of winning. But according to the ancient law of dragons, in competitions, if you can't crush your opponent, kill yourself against the wall. Its development is quite good, but it does not seem to be a species of the highest threat level. You don't have that, answered Su Heng, offending the guy even more. Then Rana intervened. This meeting was arranged by the owner of the castle. The girl told Luo Chong to think about the consequences, to which Su Heng said not to worry. The owner of the castle will not scold him. But who knows what the garrison will do to him after learning that he summoned his beast right in the castle. The guy's beast began to return back to the ring, after which he said to Su Heng, "You better not run into me at the competition in a month." The young man did not even have the desire to unite to fight for the honor of the Black Lanterns. It would be better if he didn't see such teammates. Su Heng came out. The door slammed shut. "What the hell?" said Luo Chong. He seems to have initially disliked him, apparently, like all the other teammates. The young man really pissed him off. Wang Sun told him not to be angry. They would still have the opportunity to deal with him. Su Heng walked up the stairs, thinking about the fact that tomorrow he will go to the grizzly forest. These disgruntled comrades must also be part of the test for him from the teacher. You need to take full advantage of this special training in the grizzly forest. Once he returns, he will become a worthy captain. Morning of the next day, Su Heng's house. Somebody's knocking on the door. This is the head of the Black Lantern Guard, Zhang Qing. He will accompany Su Heng to a special training session in the grizzly forest. The guy shouted from the house, "Come in." The chief of the guard entered, laying out a map on the table. He showed Master Su the place on the map where the Black Fire was located. This small settlement next to the forest of Himalayan bears is called Jalesa village. The distance to the village of Jalesa is about 150 kilometers. Only half of the route is on a repaired road. Therefore, the route is quite winding. Along the way, they may encounter troubles. Therefore, most likely, the journey there will take 1 or 2 days. Su Heng had no questions. It was time to go. They drove the car along a dirt road, passing trees. Black Fire is located in the Gray Desert, as well as the village of Jalesa and the Grizzly Forest. Su Heng studied the map. This is a vast territory where dozens of large settlements, many small ones, and nomadic camps are located. The car drove up to the gate and stopped. Evening came. Su Heng's escort asked him to wait until he announced their arrival at the tea house, and they would rest here in the evening. The deputy mayor of the tea house, Andrew, contacted them via communications. Assuming there must be a team from a Black Lantern, he began to report that he was the commander of the 5th Tactical Group of Bodyguards of the 1st and 3rd Black Lantern Squads, Zhang Cheng. They need to enter the city to rest and recover. He was asked to give his last password. The commander took out a piece of paper and began to say the password. The gate immediately began to open, rising. 3 men appeared from the other side. One said, "Good job, Commander Zhang." This time, the commander brought his dear guest with him. He asked them to arrange a good place to stay. The man told him to rely on him. The deputy mayor invited them in. The village of Abode. There were large boxes on the floor. "Mr. Su, these are items for taming animals prepared especially for you," said the guy who had just entered the guest's room. The commander introduced him. "This is Chen Han. He will be his private." "Okay, thank you for your hard work," said Su Heng. The young man called the beast. "Come out, serpentine dragon." His pet immediately appeared next to him. Su Heng turned to him, stroking him, that he had been waiting for him to go and refresh himself with something. The guys still standing in the room were very surprised and frightened when they saw the beast. Master Su did not open the canned food. Maybe this monster will eat it along with the box, they thought. The dragon approached the food box and breathed on it. The canned food began to open on its own, and the dragon began to grab food, which flowed into his mouth in a stream. After which, the animal looked to the side somehow seriously, angrily, and contemptuously. "It despises us, doesn't it?" The men standing in the room concluded by looking at each other. The tea house is different from the Black Lantern. There is no curfew, and the nightlife is quite vibrant. Several comrades from the village invite them to have fun with them at the bar. "What do you think?" The private turned to Su Heng, to which he replied that they should have fun at the bar, but he would not go. He asked if possible to find him a guide. He would like to walk around the city. Suddenly someone started knocking on the door. A girl came in asking Mr. Su that he needed a guide. The guys were a little surprised. Reina apologized. That was the name of the girl who came in. She had no intention of eavesdropping on the conversation. It's just that her grandfather Andrew asked to bring Mr. Su souvenirs from the tea abode. Approaching the girl, the private asked for forgiveness and said that he could confirm that she was indeed the granddaughter of Mayor Andrew. And if he needs a guide, then she is the best one. Great. Su Heng thanked the girl for her help. The two of them went to look around. You will not see such architecture as in the tea abode anywhere else. It's very different from the one in Black Lantern. Most house roofs have a triangle shape, but the houses themselves can be square or rectangular, which creates the impression of volume. According to tradition, the residents of the settlement paint the walls of their houses black and brown. A little higher in the mountains, there is a tiny castle made of stones and earth. This is the first building in the tea monastery. The local governing body sits here. Suddenly the girl said, "Master Su, there will be animal fights tonight. Would he like to watch?" she asked. He asked again about animal fights. This surprised and interested him at the same time. Soldiers and civilians sometimes catch wild animals, and then organize fighting competitions in the arena with their participation, thereby attracting many spectators. The girl noticed that if an animal is injured or dies in battle, its meat does not disappear. It is used as food for the residents of the city. Today they are supposed to bring a special animal that no one has seen in the tea abode. He will fight with an adult tiger. A lot of people will come to watch the fight. Su Heng thought about it. Although the tiger is an ordinary animal, it is incredibly ferocious. Watching his fight will be useful for the little lizard. The guy agreed to go watch the fight. They purchased 2 tickets. The woman who sold the tickets bombarded the girl with inappropriate questions, to which Reina asked Aunt Beretta not to ask stupid questions. "Come quickly, Mr. Su," grabbing his hand. After the questions, I felt somehow awkward and ashamed. When they came to take their seats, someone said that Reina had also come. inviting them to sit next to them. The girl thanked and apologized, saying that it would be inconvenient for her. Maybe next time. Su-heng thought, this little girl seems to be a celebrity here. A man approached them and exclaimed who he saw. He asked that Reina took the time to visit Uncle Red. She came only to accompany her dear guest, and it would be nice for her uncle to find a better place for them. Otherwise, she will complain to her grandfather. Looking at Su-heng, he said, this is the same young man. He saw the master's ring on the guy's finger, thinking that it was better not to quarrel with such a person. He greeted the guest. Welcome to the tea house arena, sir. The trumpets began to sound. Ladies and gentlemen, our beast fights will begin right now. Nice to see everyone. The presenter said welcome. The guests began to shout, raise their hands, and wave their arms. They were looking forward to the start, just as everyone expected. The city guard brought them a tiger from the jungle. More than 3 meters long, weighing more than 600 kilograms. He was big with glowing eyes and sharp teeth. It seems he was a little evil and dangerous. The tiger looks to be in great shape and can't wait to start the fight. Traps created by the trapper Asai are the most powerful weapons in the tea abode. The guests who came to watch the fight were already tired of waiting. They wanted a quick start. The girl and Su-heng took their places. The girl who made the announcement asked the audience to be patient. She will introduce today's participant to them. An open cage, but no one in sight. Well, I must admit that I have never seen such a strange arena. I hope this captured animal can surprise everyone. A small cage resembling a box was thrown up the mountain. She fell to the floor, the cage door flew off, and a small animal was inside. It thrashed as it fell. The baby stood up and leaned his elbows on the edge of the cage. Turning his head, the baby saw that a tiger began to approach him. Frightened, the little animal jumped out of the cage. He landed on the ground. He was very scared. The audience laughed. They were also impressed. Su-heng, seeing this baby, was surprised. He began to guess who the little animal might be. The tiger decided to attack the cub, bending it towards him. The baby started to run away, making a sound. The little animal was afraid and screamed. He was in a panic. The tiger approached him. He immediately jumped away. But the big beast did not give up. He was ready to attack again. He began to move towards the baby, who sat motionless out of fear. Some viewers did not expect that the baby would remain alive after the tiger attacks. They thought that the tiger would smear him like a fly on the table. The child sitting next to his mother liked to watch what was happening. Su-heng began to remember what he had read earlier in the book. According to ancient legends, there are 4 incredibly dangerous and rare species of dragons. For their power, these species were nicknamed the 4 deities. These include mysterious, fabulous, miraculous, and mythical types. Without a doubt, such speed and reaction are not characteristic of an ordinary animal. With a golden mark on its forehead and a rounded body shape, this little animal belongs to a mysterious species. And dragons of this species are born treasure hunters. Treasure hunters are extremely dangerous, but almost not aggressive. They are quite rare, born to search for treasures, which is what they try to do. The tiger continued to attack the cub. Their traces can only be seen in dangerous places. To meet him here unexpectedly, this opportunity cannot be missed, Su-heng thought. The guy asked the girl if he could buy a baby animal, pointing his finger in his direction. She explained that Uncle Red bought it from the head winemaker of the tea abode, Ku-man. Uncle is the owner of the arena, and all the fighting animals here belong to him. After hearing this, Su-heng asked the girl to take him to her uncle. They approached the office door. Even if the guy is her friend, he cannot agree to this request. You cannot break the rules of combat. It cannot be stopped until one of the opponents is defeated, he said. But the little girl still begged her uncle. He looked at Su-heng and said, it's not about money at all. Little Reina knew that her uncle bought the animal from Ku-man for 1,000 steel coins. She pays 4,000, she's going, she asked her uncle. Okay, he gave up, saying that she must understand his family had never violated the rules of the Battle Beast Arena. Su-heng understood that Mr. Red was worried about the bets already placed and the tickets sold. As far as the arena owner knew, this animal was not that valuable. The uncle clarified with the guests that it was really important for him to get it. Su-heng didn't want to be misunderstood. He really wanted the animal, but he didn't want to break the rules. The guy wants to offer something. If Mr. Red wants to listen, he will talk about it. On the street, ladies and gentlemen began addressing the audience at full volume. Due to the emergency situation, we were forced to, but did not finish. Hearing this, the guests began to be indignant, shouting that they had bought tickets and enjoyed the spectacle. Someone shouted that if they didn't continue the fight, he wouldn't come again. To which Red asked the audience to calm down and listen to him. Firstly, The cost of tickets will be refunded 3 times to those present, and bets placed will be refunded in full. Secondly, there will be an incredible battle in the arena today. Let's welcome new member Su-heng to the arena. The spectators were delighted. They liked it. How many years have passed since the last such battle? The tiger began to roar. He was ready to attack. He walked towards Su-heng. The spectators were scared, thinking that the guy was about to be killed. Reina, worried about Mr. Su, shouted that he would definitely win. Su-heng calls for a pet. Come out, serpentine dragon. The ring has glowed. The dragon began to appear in all its beauty and majesty. Seeing him, the tiger felt unwell. He backed away. The spectators screamed. They were surprised. Dangerous guy. This is the overlord. The last time they saw the ruler was in the tea abode 3 months ago. No wonder they came today. The girl shouted, "Hooray, long live Master Su." Seeing this, my uncle was shocked. The guy is so young, but he already controls the most dangerous creatures. It was a good thing he was polite enough to him, he thought. Looks like baby Reina has a new friend this time. The dragon was sitting next to the guy, waiting for the command. Su-heng resolutely said for the dragon to attack. The beast began to attack the tiger. The beast, seeing this, was very frightened. The tiger was very frightened. He sat as if saying and apologizing, "The tiger was mistaken, the tiger is to blame, just don't kill the tiger." The guy and the dragon turned their gaze to the side. Then they noticed how the baby was running around the arena, after a light attack from the dragon, if there was one. Su-heng thought, this speed and quickness of reaction must be related to his physical form. It's not for nothing that he is called a mysterious creature. The guy gave the command to the dragon to attack him. He immediately flew at the baby. He began to run away, jumping in fear. Su-heng ordered the dragon to use the second stage of power, acceleration. He was in motion. Hearing the guy, the dragon began to apply the second stage of acceleration. The beast began to move faster, moving through the air. Flying up to the baby, he stretched his paws with sharp claws forward. He screamed. The dragon didn't have time. His paw hit the ground, and the baby jumped away. Dragon power level 2. Su-heng delivered the blow. The dragon prepared to attack. A magical stream appeared above the arena. The spectators were frightened and surprised. And this is the power of the ruler. Once his beast gets into a fight with a detachment of soldiers, there will be nothing left of the latter. The baby became even more frightened. The dragon approached him, stretching out its paw with huge claws to grab him. He couldn't move. The dragon picked him up and brought him to the guy. He said that, "Boy, you can't run away." The baby just made sounds. The office of the owner of the animal fighting arena. "This is amazing, sir. This is the first time I've seen such a young person tame ferocious animals," said the girl's uncle. Apologizing for his tactlessness, the guy asked the man how he managed to catch such a fast animal. "You mean the baby that's sitting in his cage," Red clarified. For the Black Lantern, the tea abode is not just an important supply point in the south. It is also the main supplier of wine products. The one who caught this animal is the old winemaker from the monastery, Kuman. They said that this little guy snuck into the wine cellar and ruined several barrels that were intended for the head of the Black Lantern. For a week, old man Kuman and his apprentices did not take any action towards him. Having already lost any hope that everything would resolve itself, the winemaker discovered a drunken, peacefully sleeping animal in a barrel. After this incident, Kuman sold him to the owner of the animal fighting arena. Despite his mysterious strength, the animal was so stupid that he got drunk. So it's not surprising that he was caught. At the threshold of Su-heng's house, he thanked Reina. She helped him a lot this time. Now he is her debtor. "There is no need for gratitude, take a good rest," the girl told Su-heng. She heard that the guest would continue his journey tomorrow. He told Reina that next time they would bring her something interesting from the Black Lantern, Su-heng's room. He stood near the table where he had placed the baby's cage. The little beast was crying. Su-heng didn't understand what was happening or what it meant. The guy said that if he had not saved him then in the arena, the baby would have been dead long ago. The little animal looked at the guy. The bars of this cage are no thicker than a little finger. If there were a snake dragon in it, he could easily break the cage and escape. Indeed, aggression is alien to their representatives of a mysterious species. Now the guy will have to take care of him. But what can you do in the ancient books about dragons? There is no information about what the animal eats. Su-heng thought that maybe the baby would starve for a few days, and then he won't care what exactly he is. Suddenly the ring on his finger began to glow. The guy was so busy that he completely forgot to feed the snake dragon. He quickly ran to the food boxes. I took the lid off one of them. The guy began to pour food into a large wooden bucket, and the kid watched it all. The guy was stirring the food with a spoon. The little beast would not mind eating. If you eat the second one more than usual, they will be able to reach the Iron Village by tomorrow evening. Su Heng summoned the dragon. He appeared next to the guy. The food is ready to eat. The dragon began to eat with pleasure. The baby started crying again. He was very hungry and also wanted to eat. The guy didn't understand what was going on, what happened. But then he approached the baby and asked him what the little animal also wanted to eat. Su Heng took a spoon and went to scoop up food from the dragon. He didn't understand why the guy was doing this. He brought the spoon with food to the baby. He started trying. He ate with pleasure. The dragon stood behind him and watched as the baby crushed his food. The beast was horrified by what he saw. Su Heng never thought that the treasure hunter liked the same food as the snake dragon. Now the animal will definitely not remain hungry. "Do you want more?" the guy asked the little animal. "Now wait a little." The dragon, hearing this, quickly stuffed all the food into itself. The guy was shocked. He turned to the snake dragon, saying that if necessary, he would eat less, so that there would be enough food for both him and the hunter. Hearing this, the dragon was furious. The guy lightly hit the dragon on the forehead with a spoon, telling him that he was an older brother and therefore should behave appropriately. "Come on, they're both going to have a good time today." The girl waved her hand, saying goodbye to the guest. The next morning, Su Heng says goodbye to Reina and goes to Jalesa village. Their car was moving away. This village is much larger than the tea abode. There is a metallurgical plant where iron, copper, and aluminum are mined. It seems that there was some kind of dependence of the village on the grizzly forest. But because of the law, Commander Jiang Qing could not say it directly, so all he could do was wait until he arrived and understood everything. They reached the village. You could see houses and smoke from the chimneys where the plant was located. Having entered the village, Su Heng immediately felt able. The smell of burning steel smelted from coal hung in the air. Jiang Qing sent Su Heng to the center of the village for a leadership meeting. And then the guy finally understood what the commander was silent about. The village of Jalesa turned out to be a provincial town with a civilian population of 1,000 people and 150 military personnel. On paper, this is an independent settlement of the Grey Desert, but in reality, it is subordinate to the Black Lantern. It supplies it with metal and agricultural products. Minerals here are mined from the grizzly forest. For ordinary people, this is a pipe dream. The reason why Iron Village could easily mine them from there shocked Su Heng. The entire grizzly forest turned out to be the property of the teacher, or rather the territory of his animal. The master is to some extent able to control all the bears there with the help of his pet. In the management committee conference room, the guy assumed that the teacher was unusually strong, but he didn't think that much. According to the management committee, there are 4 overlords in the grizzly forest right now. The strongest of them is an old Black Lantern fighter. The other 3 overlords, their strength level is higher than that of an experienced fighter. And even though they are all Black Lantern people, the guy thought, but pets are no less important to them than money and power. The guy has already arrived in his room. It would be foolish to go into the grizzly forest and ask the overlords to recognize the treasure hunter. Su Heng thought the best way to do this. The guy asked the kid if he would be his companion. The little beast made a sound. "Forget about it. Let's eat first and then chat some more," the guy suggested. The dragon woke up. He was taken aback when he saw that the guy was communicating with the little animal. "Street. You can see the light from the window. You can hear a voice." Su Heng calmed the pets down by giving them something to eat. Having received an interesting animal, Su Heng planned to immediately go to the grizzly forest, but decided to stay in T-City for 3 more days. The reason is simple. He needed to find a way to establish a mental connection with the treasure-seeking beast so that it would become his beast. However, this turned out to be not so easy to do. Every time Su Heng tried to establish a mental connection, he was pushed away by the consciousness of a treasure-seeking beast. Even after rummaging through the old Dragon Codex, he couldn't find any relevant entries. So Su Heng came up with something. Isn't the kid a treasure hunter? The guy will take him with him on their search. Unfortunately, everything is not as simple as it seems. Su Heng was defeated. He's tired. The guy was angry. He scolded the little animal. The kid spent the whole morning chasing butterflies and beetles, but he certainly wasn't looking for treasures. The young man innocently threatened the baby, saying that if he found out that the baby was an ordinary animal, he would feed it to the snake dragon. The kid was angry and afraid about all this. He experienced a range of feelings, made sounds, or maybe he even spoke only in his own language. Suddenly, the little animal made a sound, pointing his finger straight ahead. The guy was delighted that he had found it. Turning around, he didn't understand. There was a sign on the wall that said, "Try our drink, Surabaya hormone." The guy asked the kid if he wanted to say that he smelled treasure here. The kid sat guiltily with his eyes closed. The guy wondered what could happen this time. Mystical energy was seething in his body, taking the baby with them. They began to leave. The guy said that he didn't want to go there. It might turn out to be another setup. He'd better go home and feed the dragon. The baby began to make sounds and wave his hand, indicating that he wanted to go there. In short, he began to behave like a small child. Do you want to go there? You think that there is a treasure there? Su Heng started asking the baby. The guy didn't understand why he should help him get this treasure. The kid was upset. His mood changed at lightning speed. However, the guy loves to do good deeds. But first, the animal must promise the young man one thing. The kid presented a collar and a whip. The guy laughed. Now he understood what the kid was worried about. Telling the animal that this is just a mental connection, not submission. The little beast was serious and determined as never before. He bent his front paw into a fist. He touched it to the guy's bent fist. They agreed. Without a foundation of attachment, it is not possible to establish a mental connection overnight. If he just offers it to him, the animal will refuse, the guy thought. But establishing a mental connection, when he does not resist, changes everything radically. Some guy was holding a bottle in his hands. The girl was sitting at the bar counter. The bartender, pointing to a glass of liquid, told her that this was their signature drink, which she ordered. Su Heng opened the door of the establishment, entering it. The bartender saw him. He asked if the guest would like to drink their signature drink, Hormone. Su Heng said that he just came to look around. The guy behind the counter got angry. He didn't understand how anyone could come into a pub in the middle of the day and just look around. He immediately approached two men in dark glasses, apparently security guards, at a table, saying that he was seeing the guest for the first time, assuming that the guest may be a foreign mercenary or a relative of one of the soldiers. Told them to watch him. Su Heng and the baby approached the table, pointing a finger at some piece of stone, clarifying whether this attracted the attention of the animal, to which he made a sound. The guy was disappointed. He didn't understand whether the little animal was a treasure hunter or a garbage collector. Suddenly, the stone they were standing in front of changed its shape. Now, it looked like a toilet. The guy was very surprised. Was this the stone that was mentioned in the old dragon code? A stone that changes shape. The path of dragon beast transformation is full of difficulties. The demand for evolutionary materials is even higher. Transformation stones are the main material needed to change a very powerful type of dragon. The guy didn't think that he would ever face something he had never even dreamed of. He thanked the baby. The bartender began to approach the young man, not understanding why he was standing, whether he was a guest or a troublemaker. Su Heng immediately blurted out that he wanted to buy a stone and asked how much it cost. The employee of the establishment was surprised. He asked the guest that he wanted to buy this piece of stone. Their boss found this stone in the ruins of the wilderness. But even when several specialists looked at it, they all found it useless, except for the curvature. Here, it stands as decoration. This is a very expensive stone, said the bartender, assuming that the young man will not be able to afford it. Therefore, he invited the guest to have a drink and leave. To which Su Heng said, "Tell me the price." 10,000 steel coins, and the guy can immediately take the stone. He took out 3 coins. He threw them on the table, saying that's enough. The worker was dumbfounded, looking at the coins. The security guys and the bartender thought so much. Su Heng paid more than what was offered, but they still have to deliver this stone. The guys saw the ring on the guy's finger, master's ring. The bartender began to apologize for not immediately realizing that the master tamer had visited his bar. He is confident that it will be delivered. He just quoted the wrong price. In fact, the price is only 1 gold coin. The craftsmen make every effort to protect this. The guy hopes that this won't happen again, either to him or to any other person. The men assured that this would never happen again. The door closed. Su Heng left. There are 2 ways in which a master can tame a beast in a short time. The first is that the master takes control by force, if the beast is of a lower level than the master. The second way is when the animal itself agrees or even wants to be tamed by the master. And at this moment, the beast looking for treasure falls into the second category. For 3 days, Su Heng puzzled over how to tame the new beast. They went on a treasure hunt at the abode and ate all sorts of goodies. Su Heng even acted as a mother and told the treasure-seeking beast a bedtime story. Of course, things are not that simple. He used cunning and deceived the treasure-seeking beast by saying that after finding the treasures, he could collect them in one place. After hearing this, the little animal now treats him like an angel and can't wait for Su Heng to take him in. However, the guy trains him like a dog. The training ground in the backyard of Su Heng's house. To speed up the baby's dependence on him, the guy also trained the speed of the beast looking for treasure. Every day he set aside time for the snake dragon to train the baby. The dragon attacked, the baby ran away. The snake dragon prepared to attack. He caught up with the little animal, pinning it to the ground with his paw. Su Heng thought about it. When the beast has been abused, he intervenes like an angel and stops the violence of the serpentine dragon. At such moments, the guy turned to the dragon, telling him to stop and let the baby go, asking why he was mocking him again. The dragon looked guiltily. He didn't understand. Wasn't he the one who said to chase him? Saving a treasure hunter from the claws of a dragon caused the little one to grow in confidence and gratitude towards him. Thus, Su Heng's plan came to fruition. Outskirts of the grizzly forest. The car moved forward. Having reached the desired place, the car stopped. The commander addressed Mr. Su, saying that by crossing the river, he would cross the outer boundary of the grizzly forest, reaching the inner boundary. When he does this, there will be someone there to pick him up. The guy thanked the guys for their help. Then, out of nowhere, they saw a tiger in flight, on which a girl was sitting. He landed not far from the guys. The tiger girl said, "It must be Su Heng." She introduced herself as master of the grizzly forest Hei Ju, but he can call her sister Ju. Her beast is a particularly dangerous red fire tiger. The commander and private greeted Ms. Tishu. The guy said hello too. The burgomaster had already informed them through the communicator that his student was in the grizzly forest for a month's training. She thought that he should have arrived a long time ago, but she never expected that the young man would arrive only today. Su Heng apologized for the forced delay. He felt embarrassed because of this. Mrs. Tishu turned to the guys, saying that they could return, to which the private asked what to do with the luggage. The girl began to call on her beast, "Come out, monkey." A huge gorilla appeared next to her. Su Heng thought about it. Silver-backed gibbon. A very dangerous look. From the appearance of the beast, it is difficult to tell whether its power has broken free from the shackles of the race and advanced even further or not. The girl gave the command to her newly summoned gibbon to deliver things to the base. The beast, having heard the command, was ready to carry it out. The guys showed him where to go. The girl turned to Su Heng, asking if he wanted to take a ride on It's too far for the tiger to get to the base. The guy thanked Chu's sister for the offer, saying that he had to refuse. He wanted to fly on a snake dragon. He summoned his pet dragon. The beast immediately appeared next to him. The girl was surprised. The guy is truly worthy to be the master's student, his first pet, the highest dangerous beast. She was already sitting on the tiger. Well, let's see what he's capable of. Riding and fighting are two completely different things, Sister Tiju shouted, moving away. Su Heng was sitting on the dragon. He told the beast that he needed to catch up with her. The serpentine dragon prepared itself. The guy was a little scared. He didn't understand what his beast was going to do. He could barely stay in place, gritting his teeth tightly. He flew at speed, at everyone's speed. It was very fast. The guy definitely didn't expect this. The young man could be heard screaming. She was right. He asked the dragon to stop and not to rush so much. Village of Black Lanterns. Sister Tiju knocked on the door roughly. She said impatiently, "Open it quickly." Some guy looked out of the window in the door and asked the girl that she couldn't be a little more feminine. Because of her, the gate is destroyed. He came out to them. The guy asked Shu to take the key with him next time. After all, he is busy, and he still needs to open up to her. The girl lost her temper and attacked the guy with questions. He stood there guiltily. There was a mistake. He is ready to open the gates for Mrs. Tiju. He immediately received a blow to the head. Slap on the head. He was clearly in pain. She ordered the guy to take care of the luggage and accommodation of her younger brother, Su Heng. What a strange way of communication, Su Heng thought. Sister Ju turned to the snake dragon tamer, saying that she and this guy Jue Yu were currently in the grizzly forest at the base, pointing her hand at him. Initially, the detachment had several sergeants who performed auxiliary work. But, unable to withstand the harsh conditions of the grizzly forest, they applied for transfer. The work was entrusted to their pets. The head of the grizzly forest base and the chief master of the base, Lord Shu Kui, went to track down a dangerous creature in the gray wasteland and left a few days ago. Another master, Lin Zhen, was waiting for the guy to arrive at the base. He intended to take him with him to undergo part of the special master training. But they did not know that the young man would delay his arrival, so he started himself. The guy said guiltily that he didn't expect to be delayed either. Sister Tiju reassured him, saying that everything was fine, and she invited him to go to her room. The guy didn't understand what. He was surprised. The heads of killed animals hung on the wall. Seeing this, Su Heng was amazed. She was sitting on the bed. He looked at the wall. She turned to him so that he turned in her direction. The guy said what an unusual decor. The girl sat staring at him. Then she asked, "Why don't he sit down?" indicating with his hand the place next to her. Su Heng didn't know what to say or answer. He was out of sorts. She said that she would not tease him. She suggested that before coming here he had not heard of the special training for masters in the grizzly forest program. This can also be considered a rule. When their blacklight masters undergo their first training, they are only informed of its specific content upon arrival. Special training not only sharpens combat experience, but also the benefits that accompany it. She didn't know if he had heard of energy fruits, but she asked him about it. Hearing this, the guy was very surprised. He didn't expect that there were such fruits here. Naturally, the grizzly forest is rich in bear fruits, which are energy fruits. It increases the strength and endurance of dangerous creatures, and is useful for evil, bestial, and attacking pets. The girl went to the wall and parted the curtain, behind which there was a map. Pointing to the card, she said that it was not so easy to get them. Showing a place on the map with her hand, she began to explain. All trees with this fruit are occupied by warrior bears. With the help of a token received from the owner of the grizzly forest, Chief Grizzly, a master tamer, can challenge the owner of a specific fruit tree. Given a tag, these grizzlies usually won't back down from a fight. After defeating them, you can get a bear fruit. But if someone is not connected to Blacklight Castle, dare to steal the fruit, he will definitely be attacked by all the grizzlies of the forest, and even their masters. And they will follow the thief until he dies. Grizzly Forest. The serpentine dragon stood in front of the large beast. It looks like the grizzly bear is up to the challenge. If the dragon can defeat his opponent, then the bear fruit from the fruit tree, which is 30 years old, will be in his hands. Su Heng said to the guy next to him, "He doesn't think it's that simple." Each grizzly accepts a challenge only from the enemy whose aura, in his opinion, is weaker than his own. Naturally, if you want to get a bear fruit, you have to face risks. The dragon was serious, ready for action. The dragon looked straight at the grizzly, who stood angry. Su Heng didn't expect that the snake dragon had the talent to mock. Grizzly accepted the challenge. Didn't he ask his new acquaintance? He confirmed, adding that the snake dragon simply did not deal with this dangerous type of animal. It might be very difficult for him. The animals began to attack. They moved towards each other. Dragon power. The guy's beast was furiously heading towards the enemy. A little more and there will be a fight. Both have sharp claws. Their front paws touched. A moment later, the grizzly struck the dragon with its paw. He flew a short distance. The big beast was ready to attack the dragon again. The guy's acquaintance became worried, shouting in danger, to which Su Heng asked to wait a little. He thinks the dragon needs to gain experience. The dragon uses suppression. They stand ready. New grizzly attack, passed. But it was very close. The snake dragon managed to run away. Now it's his turn to attack. Dragon power, strengthening. He rose into the air, ready to strike. 3 stripes. He did it. It seems the attack was successful this time. The dragon scratched the grizzly with its claws until it bled. The beast was very angry. It looks like the guy raised the snake dragon well. He has developed an instinct to strike after blow. This is a rare thing, but the desire to break through the grizzly's defense is not enough. Strength is needed. Indeed, their defense is incredible. This is the bear fruit effect. If the dragon wins, then he will receive it. Su Heng encouraged the snake dragon. Grizzly began using animal healing to help his wound heal. The dragon will attack again, using the breath of evil thoughts, an evil thought bomb. He made a ball and launched it at his opponent. There wasn't a single scratch on the grizzly, but the trees nearby were hit well. They got burned and fell. Then the beast took one of these trees in its paws and raised it, preparing to attack. He launched one after another. They were flying fast. The trees landed next to the dragon. He dodged them. The beast launched them in such a way that, having settled down, the dragon was trapped. The snake dragon approached one of these trees. He was tired. The grizzly stood in front of him in full size, roaring. He got even bigger. This is a natural skill, a berserker attack. Grizzly pretended to be weak. Not every bear can master this technique. After using it, you can instantly increase your own strength and defense. The current snake dragon is unable to defeat an opponent of such strength. It's time to end this ordeal. Su Heng had not received any calls for help from the snake dragon in his spirit world. The guy believes in him. The dragon was scared. The grizzly waved his paw. He was ready to strike. The dragon got ready. Evil attack, second speed. He managed to jump away from the beast's blow. The dragon ran away without looking back. Su Heng's comrade said that at this speed, the snake dragon would not be able to brush him off. He'll get hit. Bear throw. He rushed after the dragon. While running away, the snake dragon suddenly had an idea. He touched the ground with his tail. The second stage is the earth dance. He launched a magical stream, attacking the beast. What appeared to be sharp stones appeared next to the grizzly, piercing him. He growled. After that, stones or large piles of earth flew at him in a stream. From such an attack he fell. They flew at high speed straight towards the beast, hitting it. The dragon seemed pleased with such a successful attack. He did a good job. The grizzly lay unconscious on the ground. The serpentine dragon laughed. The guy was delighted. What a stupid bear. Why didn't the dragon defeat him earlier, he said, to which Su Heng replied, lucky. The newly made friend apologized. He forgot that he now does not have enough spiritual energy to stay in the air. The branch they were sitting on began to crack. Brother Lin whistled. A bird appeared in the sky. It was Lin Zhen's flying pet, the blood-tailed, black-billed hawk. He grabbed Su Heng's shoulders with his claws and gently lowered him to the ground. Lin Zhen said that the guy is the teacher's best student. In today's battle, he did a good job with the snake dragon. Come out, Lotus Hatter. Brother Lin summoned a pet. Lotus Hatter is a healing herbaceous animal, roots in the soil to absorb nutrients. One of the rules of the Grizzly Forest Challenge is to heal the grizzly's wounds after the battle is over. Otherwise, they will be attacked by them. Su Heng thanked them for their help. The grizzly began to come to his senses. He opened his eyes. He saw a dragon in front of him, smiling and poking him with its claw. And next to him is a small animal. The grizzly got angry. He stood up ready to fight. Brother Lin approached him and said if he wanted to fight again, he would have to add another fruit. The grizzly was very unhappy. He turned around and walked away. Su Heng didn't understand. He just left and the fruit. To which Brother Lin said, let's go. They all followed the grizzly bear. Fruit tree with bear fruits. The grizzly walked up to his tree, choosing a suitable fruit. The dragon also approached him. The beast picked one of the fruits with its mouth. He put it on the floor. The fruit was slightly covered in saliva. The dragon saw this and felt uneasy. After all, he will have to put his brother in his mouth. The grizzly began to burst out laughing at this picture. Each grizzly bear guarding its territory will grow a small tree that bears fruit. Right in the center of his lair is the main treasure of this forest. The dragon came running, giving the fruit to Su Heng. The guy was surprised. He turned out to be much smaller than he thought. He asked his friend how to use it. It turned out that the pet just needed to eat the fruit. After collection, the mysterious energy contained in the bottom begins to evaporate after a few minutes. So it's better to eat quickly. The guy asked his pet to eat, but he remembered how the grizzly put the fruit on the floor, leaving his drool on it. The guy poked the fruit at the dragon so that he would eat it, but the beast decisively made it clear by his behavior and facial expression that he would not do this. Then Su Heng asked if the guy had water, to which he asked if he wasn't going to cut it up later. They washed the fruit. Brother Lin had a water bottle with him, after which the guy handed it to his pet, telling him to eat. Brother Lin thought about it. He turned to Su Heng to let the snake dragon devour the bear fruit here. Otherwise, it may lead to large energy losses. The guy didn't know this. Brother Lin summoned his pets. A lion and a python appeared. Rockweb python and king of beasts, lion. Both are mature, dangerous species. He gave them the command to guard. It looks like it will take a little work to absorb the bear fruit. Su Heng thanked his elder brother for his help and protection. The fruit cannot be preserved in any way. Therefore, once collected, it must be taken and digested in the dense forest before returning to base. Brother Lin said to junior brother Su Heng, unless he has a strong accompanying animal, it is best to stay in hidden and safe places, caves or in trees. Something is starting to happen to the dragon. Su Heng was worried about his animal. The guy shouted, "Big brother snake dragon." The mysterious energy of the fruit transforms the body and cells of living beings with extraordinary speed. The body will be able to produce a stress response. This is how the effect of the fruit is revealed. The dragon's body began to transform. He growled loudly. 13 days have passed since the snake dragon ate the first bear fruit. During these days, the dragon not only grew in size but also approached the beginning of adulthood. He had eaten 8 or 9 bear fruits in the last 10 days. He became stronger and more resilient. The serpentine dragon was born with a talent for mockery and provocation. His success in battles with grizzlies is such that even Brother Lin was shocked and ashamed. In 13 days, he fought nearly 10 grizzlies who occupied the bear fruit tree, and his victory rate was almost 70%, except for the first day, when he took a chance and defeated the bear. The reason for the high success rate is the hero behind the scenes, the beast looking for treasure. Almost all the bears that were challenged by the snake dragon were chosen by the treasure hunting kid. During all this time, Brother Lin was only able to collect 1 bear fruit. The snake dragon was able to collect so many fruits thanks to the baby. The guy won't be able to guess this secret yet. The dragon sensed the bear from the first day who knew the berserker technique. The dragon became serious and attentive. They flew towards him. Having landed, the guy saw something on the ground. He and his pet looked out from behind the bushes. Was there really a battle again? Some animal was attacking the bear, biting it. It was an armored wolf, a dangerous mid-tier species that usually lives in dark caves and mines. This is foreign territory to him. In that case, it must be a pet. There was some guy in a mask saying that he had underestimated the grizzly. The armored wolf was not his opponent. Then he called a heavily armored wolf and gave the command to go and finish off that bear. A heavily armored wolf immediately appeared. The evolution of the armored wolf. He has almost no weak points. In the first echelon of especially dangerous species. Looking at his body, one can understand that his level is perfect. He is very strong. He was ready to attack. He ran up and struck a grizzly bear. He began to fall. He fell into the water, hiding in its depths. The guy and his dragon were surprised that the beast really defeated the grizzly so easily. Blacklight Castle was created hundreds of years ago. In the process of development, they had to fight. They made enemies for themselves. A powerful rival force comparable to Blacklight seems to have a large number of masters capable of controlling armored wolves. They control the armored wolves' habitat, just as Blacklight controls the grizzly forest. They have the same situation. But that area is not as large as this forest. Now they have appeared here. They came for the fruit. Su Heng began to think about how he could save the bear. Even Blacklight couldn't figure out how to preserve the fruits. A guy in a mask approached the tree with a syringe in his hands. He pierced the fetus with it and drew liquid from it into a syringe. Su Heng watched carefully. He began to guess who it could be. Some kind of animal was flying above them. It was a scout. The masked stranger did his job. Suddenly he heard a chirp. The guy hid the syringe in his bag. He didn't know that someone was hiding there. He approached his beast, touched it, and said, "Let's see who's there." He mounted his pet and they rushed off. A few minutes later, a guy on a dragon was running away from a poacher sitting on a heavily armored wolf. Su Heng thought it was possible to escape from such a beast. He and the dragon should sneak into the forest, hide their identity, and set all the grizzlies on him. He took out a walkie-talkie from his bag pocket to report that a poacher had been spotted. Ask for help. But it turned out that his radio was discharged. The guy lived quietly for a long time and did not charge it. Moreover, there were always people nearby. Su Heng thought no matter how hard it was, he had to convey the news about this guy. He summoned a treasure-seeking beast, after which the dragon rushed even faster. His movement quickened. The stranger on the wolf was surprised, after which he turned to his pet, so that he uses all his skills. The wolf stopped to understand what was happening. Something like smoke appeared. The dragon used the 5th stage, an evil attack, Shadow Step. But the pursuers continued to catch up with the guys. The guy turned to the snake dragon to use evil attack, 2nd speed. And so that he heads towards the giant trees. They rushed off. The acceleration and sustained effect of the 2nd speed evil attack is not as good as that of the Shadow Step. However, there is an advantage. It can change direction. The wolf cannot do this. Therefore, there is a possibility that he will take great pleasure in crashing into trees. It would be best to lure him to Brother Lin, Su Heng thought. Suddenly a wolf swoops into the trees. The impact of his paw caused the tree to break in half. Then he hits the tree with his head and knocks it down. The poacher angrily and gritted his teeth admitted that the enemy could run. After which he began to summon his beast from the ring. A thunder tiger with 3 attributes immediately appeared. A particularly dangerous species. The stranger jumped from the wolf to the beast that had just appeared. They continued the chase. The tiger actually moved faster. He almost caught up with the dragon. Thunder attack, claw. The tiger jumped up ready to strike. During the attack, the dragon took off. But still the tiger managed to hit him with its claw. The guy concluded that the thunder tiger was in full swing. Touching the dragon's wound, the guy thought that at this rate, even if he didn't catch up with them, he would kill them. Suddenly he sank. He turned to the treasure hunter to take them to the nearby territory of the chief bear. The kid accepted the command. I started looking. It seems he managed it. After all, they need help. The dragon rushed, turning sharply to the side, thus puzzling the tiger, who ran straight. Snake dragon, don't just run away. Use earth dance. The command has been accepted. He is ready to attack. Sharp rocks began to appear behind the dragon. They blocked the path of the pursuers. They stopped, clearly not expecting this. The stranger turned to the heavily armored wolf to clear the way. The poacher's ring lit up. The wolf came out of the ring and got down to business. After he cleared the way, the tiger started to catch up with the dragon. The snake dragon ran away at all times. The guy racing on the tiger said, "You think you can escape?" The tiger made a jump, slowing down. "He disappeared," said the poacher. "Tiger, find him." The animal began to sniff, trying to catch their scent. Suddenly he let out a roar. The guy didn't understand what was happening. From the cave, they saw glowing eyes. The guy on the tiger began to understand who might be in front of them. A paw with claws appeared and a large bear began to emerge. The poacher says, "The leader of the grizzly bear." He gave the command to his pet to run. The bear growled loudly. At the grizzly's roar, the guy and the dragon turned around. Su Heng suggested that the leader could call on the pack to attack him. No matter how strong the guy with the pets is, he won't be able to handle all the bears. "Let's go." "We are returning to the base," the young man addressed the dragon. "If they are late, it is unknown how many fruits will be stolen from the grizzly forest." The evil attack is a speed attack. Using it, the snake dragon rushed to the base. But suddenly they saw something flying next to them. The guy shouted at the dragon to quickly duck down. Something exploded in front of them. The dragon landed on a tree branch. Sitting on a branch, they saw a poacher. He said that he was very sorry that the guy dodged the blow. Su Heng asked him how he found it. Thunder Tiger has the star robe skill. He could find it even if it was 10 times further away. This skill, Su Heng thought. Let the chief of the bears hold me back. Trying to escape myself to report what happened is a smart tactic. But the guy should know that it is easy for masters of his level to escape from such a bear. Unlike the guy with the dragon, the stranger can use a scaly lizard as a pet. Then the poacher shouted at the Thunder Tiger to kill them, pointing his finger at the guy with the dragon. Suddenly, the tiger hesitated for something and didn't understand. He definitely didn't expect to see something like this. The dragon began to use the technique. The evil attack is the second stage of enlightenment. Using the mystical gift of the treasure-seeking beast, illusion, the poacher will mistake the snake dragon for an ordinary scaly lizard. Then the dragon's power will suddenly burst out. This will help gain time. Fortunately, the young man managed to make a smokescreen from the waste from the release of black fat. That's where it came in handy. There was smoke. There was poor visibility for some time. The dragon has already taken off. They will try to escape. This is their last chance. He wants to run away again. Let's see how he does it. The guy gave the command to his tiger to chase him and use his technique to strengthen him. First kill the guy, and then his pet. The Thunder Tiger was ready to attack, striking. He was very close to the dragon and the young man. Su Heng's ring began to glow. A barrier formed around him. The beast, trying to strike, received it himself. The barrier threw the beast away. He flew away along with his tamer. The guy realized that the ring could be used as protection. The teacher couldn't have said this before, he thought. The young man was on the verge of death many times, but it only worked now. The tiger lay immobilized. The masked master was very surprised that the guy managed to seal this ability, which was usually only mastered by the highest dangerous species at a mature stage, in the ring. This ring is first class, even among strong craftsmen. The poacher doesn't even have one. The dragon stood, looking angrily towards his pursuers. Su Heng didn't understand what he was waiting for. The guy shouted to him that he was running. "You're still running away, I don't care who he is." "Don't even think about reporting it," said the guy in the mask. He summoned another of his pet white mountain lions. The dragon tamer had no idea how many beasts that guy had. But you can't mock a person like that. The poacher on the lion said that he doesn't care who the guy's master is. He will kill the young man today. The dragon stood. The stranger did not understand why he did not run away. Su Heng smiled evilly. An animal flew up to him. He asked the guy, "Do you know this animal?" The guy in the mask said green hummingbird, Scout's pet. Suddenly a guy jumped out of the trees on a large beast. Upon landing, he asked who dared to offend his brother. Grizzly Forest. The guy sitting on the lion asked him if he had the courage to stop him. Brother Lin replied that he would not only dare to stop him, he would also dare to kill him. A guy from the City of Fire. Su Heng heard the name of the city and remembered that he had heard about them. The full name of the city is Sinfire, being one of the deepest and most prominent among large crowded places. It has always been the rival of Blacklight Castle. Unlike the Grizzly Forest, their leader seems to have a deep connection with the wolf-type pet subclass of animals. Their main pet is the wolf. The guy in the mask said that he wants a lot. He doesn't have enough strength, addressing the one who wants to dare to kill him. He laughed.
Ordering his pets to tear it up? The outsider will see if he's still tough when he's defeated.
His wolf went on the attack. Brother Lin chuckled at this. Let's see how good he is when he takes him down. He called his beasts. Mountain python, moon leopard. There was a battle going on. Brother Lin dodged. Immediately, the wolf scratched him on the shoulder and he staggered. Seeing this, Su Heng shouted from the elder brother as he walked towards him. Suddenly, a fiery hand appeared and hit the wolf. The fiery man launched an attack with enormous striking force. The wolf flew down. He fell to the ground rather roughly, The guy in the mask was surprised and angry after what he saw. Fire avatar. Poisonous, combat, fiery, magical, and light attributes. A particularly dangerous species. It turned out that when the elder brother first released the python, the avatar also appeared. He simply used magical stealth skills to wait his turn. He is the 5 attributes petmaster, Suheng realized. The wolf was angry. There is some fire left on the back of it. The armored wolf stood in front of the fire avatar, growling. The guy in the mask was very surprised by his appearance. No wonder the guy dared to challenge him, although intelligence knows about his pets. But he had never received information that there was such a rare pet in their blacklight castle. Brother Lin said, since he found out, he must be killed. He thinks his fire avatar can kill me. The heavily armored wolf is one of the strongest among especially dangerous species. He will kill his avatar. Dark tread. The wolf moved to attack. The fire avatar got ready. He stood alert. The wolf bent down on him and swung his paw. But then I didn't understand. There were 2 of them. One fiery avatar remained in place. The second one enveloped the wolf's back, where, in the process, a stream of fire threw the armored wolf into the distance, thus producing a blow. Suheng thought, how could Brother Lin be so strong? The guy in the mask said that's such incredible power. The beast was already standing next to him. The guy gave the command, a heavily armored wolf, heavy armor, to which Brother Lin told the fiery avatar to fry him. The guy's fiery pet got ready. The attack has begun. The wolf went on the attack using Shadow Gate. The avatar used a firestorm, tearing claws, crushing. A little more and the 2 forces will touch. An explosion occurred during the collision. Both survived. The masked guy admitted that the enemy is worthy of being such a rare pet. He even has 2 6th-level enlightenment abilities. No wonder he injured his armored wolf so badly. The man in the mask is kind of restless. He summoned another pet, a fiery scaly beast, a particularly dangerous species. Brother Lin was a little puzzled. He thinks that if he summons another beast, he will cope with me. The masked guy didn't need to fight him. He needed to hold him off. He radioed his comrades, saying that he was very tired and spent a lot of energy. Maybe someone wants to help him kill a couple of people. Suddenly smoke began to appear. It turned out that Brother Lin had informed Mr. Shu. Brother Lin said that everything depends on who comes first. Maybe they have another plan, the guy in the mask asked the guys. What does he mean? Brother Lin asked. What kind of riddle did he tell? The stranger turned to his scaly beast. Let's go. Let's trap them. The beast began to attack, approaching the guys and the fire avatar. Brother Lin said that he could delay them a little longer. The avatar began to apply fiery enlightenment, creating shock currents. He also used a firestorm that flew at the enemy beast. Something creepy and exciting at the same time began to happen. The guy in the mask spoke, fire strike, fiery exit. His surprise knows no bounds. It became more and more terrifying. Smoke swirled in front of the opponents. Suddenly a serpentine dragon appeared and emerged from the smoke. It was unexpected. The guy in the mask reacted angrily to his appearance. And in general, how dare he approach him? Suheng turned to the dragon, so that he would use techniques. Evil bomb. A bullet of evil thoughts. The dragon began to attack. He launched a stream towards the enemy. Dance of the earth. The flow of the blow moved towards the enemy. There was an explosion. A beast emerged from the smoke. He was summoned by the masked guy. The fighting chimpanzee is a particularly dangerous species. The restless guy sat down on the ground and laughed. Suddenly, someone appeared on the horizon. The guy in the mask said that the guys were out of luck. His people came faster. He suggested to his comrade to finish off the 2 and leave. They can't linger here until that person arrives. The guy who had just come to the rescue had a manticore, a particularly dangerous species. The manticore launched 3 sharp tips in the direction of the dragon, resembling a sharp pencil. They got stuck in the dragon's tail, launching poison. The guy couldn't do anything. The tail was exposed and the poison spread, causing the infected part of the dragon's tail to fall off. He screamed in pain. The fighting chimpanzee growled. He started to attack, jumped up ready to strike the enemy. The guys stood with the animals in place. We looked at chimpanzees. Suddenly, Brother Lin shouted to Suheng, "Brother, be careful!" The chimpanzee's attack was taken on by the fiery avatar. The blow was strong and noticeable. The beast's eyes were filled with anger and readiness for action. Military equipment. A giant leg. The chimpanzee's strength accumulated in his raised leg. He was about to use it to strike the fire avatar that was covering Suheng. Suddenly, a fighting chimpanzee received a blow. This was a red fire tiger attack. Sister Chu and Brother Shui came to the aid of the guys. They thought that we had no one in backlight. The man who had a pet manticore was surprised by Jue Yu. He wondered if he shouldn't be in the city, how he was able to get here so quickly. If he weren't here, they would have achieved their goal, Shui said. The guy in the mask said it would be better if he didn't come. Secret weapon against Master Shu. But this time it is intended to bury 4 guys. A lot of craftsmen died because of him. The guy who was on the manticore summoned another pet. A steel-armed monkey. The beast growled loudly. The guys stood and looked at the giant. Sister Chu concluded that what they were looking at was a very dangerous-looking, mature individual. This is very bad for them. The steel-armed monkey ran towards the guys, ready to attack. But suddenly he himself received a blow. He began to fly back from it. The strangers were scared. They definitely didn't expect this. The monkey landed after the impact. The opponents began to run away. Su Heng didn't understand what happened. The girl said that this is one of Master Shu's strongest pets. Nightmare Earth Dragon. Zhu Yu added, undoubtedly. This is the strongest mature, super dangerous, terrorist-type beast. The golden-backed steel monkey was destroyed in 2 blows. The Earth Dragon roared. Su Hyun couldn't believe if this was a force beyond the dangerous kind. The strangers were running away, when the guy on the manticore told his comrade that Xiu Kai had already nailed it. He's a grandmaster. A light began to appear ahead of those running away. They were surprised, not fully understanding what was happening. They were attacked. The masked guy's beast was hit. He began to fall along with the guy, who screamed as he fell. A huge beast appeared with a man standing on it. He appeared in front of Sister Ju and Su Heng. He didn't expect these guys to sneak into the grizzly forest while he was gone. Master Shu praised them, saying that they had done a good job. They stood and looked at the majestic beast. And they listened to the man. Suddenly he saw a dead rock python beast, which was Lin's pet. The guy was sitting next to him with a friend. This is a great loss for him. Master Shu asked who did it, to which Su Heng replied, it was the manticore of that guy from Sinfire who did it. Hearing the guy, the man had no words. He was angry. After which he turned to his sister Teju, telling them to return to the base and rest, to which she said an affirmative yes. The order is understood. The man on the earthly dragon had already begun to leave when he said that what was next was himself. 4 guys stood in some part of the forest. One of them said that the plan was correct, but that little guy with the dragon violated it. 3 of their team had not arrived, he guessed. Most likely they had been killed by Zhuem. The second of the guys said that because of those scouts they had huge problems. They need to kill them. They didn't even know that Shui and that guy with the dragon were in the grizzly forest. Another guy on their team said it was too late. Shu Kai caught them in the act. The mission failed. It is better to first inform their comrades about this so that they have time to prepare, assuming that they will not be pursued due to revenge anyway. 2 of the guys raised their hands, agreeing with what the guy said. 1 abstained. He only listened. That young man's name was Luo Yu, after which his friend asked him what about him. He replied that they should not fool him, and they would decide for themselves. Suddenly birds began to fly out of the forest. The guys did not understand what was happening. They felt uneasy. From the depths of the forest, the head of a large beast with burning eyes and a man on it became visible. The girl on the team shouted, "Xiu Kai!" In panic, they all quickly began to run away. Grizzly Forest Base. On its territory, dead animals of opponents lay in a heap. In one of the rooms, the guys were sitting at the table. Master Shu addressed them, saying that most of the invaders had been destroyed. There were 2 more, but they weren't worth chasing. Sister Ju said that it would be dangerous if they were caught by surprise. The technician inspected all areas, and the damage was not too serious. Of the hundreds of bare fruit trees in the grizzly forest, only a few dozen, less than 1/10, were harvested. But about 100 bears were killed or injured, which can be considered a heavy loss for the entire grizzly pack. The chief of the bear warriors who owns this forest will be furious when he finds out about this. But the rest is not in their control. Blacklight will take revenge on Sinfail. They will answer to the bear leader. The master turned to Lin Zhen, saying that his loss was not small. He will report it to the castle and try to make up for it by giving him an unusually skilled and dangerous young pet. He addressed He Ju and Shui Yu, saying that their timely support was also considered a merit. He will report this, and the castle master will decide how to reward them. Shu thought it was good that he wasn't asked why he was AWOL in the grizzly forest. Suddenly sheets of paper flew at him. He almost forgot. The master turned to the guy, asking that he wasn't supposed to be in Rivet Town and what he was doing in the forest. To this, Shui guiltily asked that he didn't come to support his comrades. The master rudely replied that he had enough of pretending. The man didn't care about him. He told the guy to go back to the city. Shu stood up. He was ashamed and embarrassed. He said he was already on his way. The Sinfire plot was foiled thanks to Su Heng. Therefore, he deserved the award. The master is sure that the burgomaster will be pleased and will reward him. Since the guy was on his territory, he cannot turn a blind eye to the young man's merits. They have a lot of good things in the base warehouse, so Su Heng can choose a couple. The guy said that if it weren't for Brother Lin's timely appearance, even if he had broken through to them, he would most likely have died. Su Heng put his hand on his comrade's shoulder, starting to say how about that, and fell silent, then saying that he would rather give this reward to Brother Lin. The master said it's great that you get along well. He told them not to worry. Both guys will receive an award. The man believes that the decision on Lin's reward and compensation will be made by the master of the castle. The man told Su Heng that he would take him to the warehouse now. The guy guiltily asked Commander Shu if he could wait until tomorrow to make his choice. The young man was not having the best day. Grizzly forest base, night, bright moon, light from the windows. After working for a long time, Su Heng can finally rest. The guy thought that if he wanted to choose a treasure, it would be very bad not to check it in the Dragon Codex. He was reading a book. The final direction of evolution of domestic animals is the same. This is the transformation into a real dragon, becoming the top of the food chain. However, becoming a dragon comes with many dangers. In order to achieve a 1 in a million chance, countless treasures and materials are needed. Thus, the economic efficiency of turning a treasure-seeking beast into a dragon would be even higher. With such a beast, the likelihood of obtaining evolutionary materials should be much higher. Like the serpentine dragon, the treasure hunter has multiple paths to transform into a dragon. However, in order for a snake dragon to turn into a true dragon, it needs to go through dozens of paths. There are fewer ways for a beast looking for treasure to transform into a dragon, only 9. But 8 of them will weaken, and he will become more of a dragon with a mixed type. The only way to preserve the beast's ability to obtain treasure is to transform it into a treasure-hunting dragon beast. It's a secret for the guy. He thought that he should wait until dawn to go in search of treasure in the warehouse. Morning, Su Heng asked if he could go to the warehouse. Sister Ju said that Boss Shu asked him to tell him that last night one of their forward observation posts accidentally discovered traces of a supply convoy from Sinfire. Without delay, the master set out to destroy it yesterday. She added that he didn't go yesterday, so his reward would have to wait until the boss returned. The guy was a little upset. The girl was holding a large brush in her hands. Apparently, she was going to make her pet look diligent. Then he turned to the serpentine dragon, saying that he suddenly had a great idea. The dragon looked at the guy suspiciously and with a question. In an instant, the two of them were already running out of the base. Sister Tuju looked at their backs. The girl thought, he has been acting strange all day. They were already in the forest. The guy thought when Sister Tuju scrubbed her pet, it reminded him that no one cared about the grizzly bears in the forest, not to mention special food. After the invasion of Poachers that time, the bears of the forest also suffered great losses. In the ancient Codex of Dragons, which the guy was reading, there was just the right recipe for bear fighters. In addition, he can use the beast to search for treasures in order to find the desired bear. He spoke to the dragon, who said that to get the bear fruit you must fight. They need to make the most of their last few days in the grizzly woods and take it one step further. The snake dragon looked at the guy questioningly. Under the guidance of Su Heng, with the help of the treasure-seeking beast and the snake dragon, as well as the special formula contained in the old dragon code, they made very tasty dishes. Su Heng treated the bear. The dragon helped him, holding the necessary medicines in his paws. They bathed the animal together. The bear really liked it. Thus, the guy collected a lot of harvest. In addition to 3 bear fruits, there were also several rare bird eggs, all so that the snake dragon becomes stronger. Only in the evening some changes took place. The bear used the level 4 bear roar energy technique. It was strong. Su Heng shouted to the snake dragon that the bear liked their recipe. It was very tasty. Therefore, the beast rewards him with a fight. The guy told him to let the dragon act. The grizzly will use the ripclaw animal energy technique. The beast began to move towards the dragon, ready to attack. Then the guy remembered that his pet's severed tail had not yet recovered. The grizzly charged at the dragon point blank, and grabbed him as far as possible by the neck with his claws. Su Heng shouted that the snake dragon would give in. They won't fight anymore, because it still hurts. The bear was determined and ready to attack. He raised his paw, intending to strike, but this did not happen. The dragon managed to intercept her and jump back a little. Suddenly, something began to happen to him. A light appeared like a star in an oval above the dragon's chest. He stood on all fours and used the dragon cry technique. The guy was proud of the snake dragon. New technology? Great. Hearing the cry of the dragon, The little bear cubs that were in the forest nearby got scared and began to run away. The dragon sat contentedly. The young man told him that he had discovered a level 4 ability. He stood near the animal and stroked it. The beast liked it. The guy didn't think that his pet would be talented in dragon power. Su Heng couldn't believe that he had 4th level powers. Suddenly something began to happen to the beast again. The skin on his face began to peel. The guy screamed in horror, a snake dragon. He began to transform. In the process, his tail grew and matured a little more. The dragon has reached a late stage of growth. The guy hugged the dragon. He was happy that his pet was finally at an advanced stage of growth. Grizzly forest. The sun was slowly setting behind the horizon. The sky was colorful. Sister Jiu found Master Shu in the grizzly forest. He could not believe what she told him. He asked again that Su Heng's snake dragon had already grown to a late stage of growth. He asked if she was telling the truth. The girl answered yes, and it was difficult for her to believe it. Lin checks him. Boss asked her if it was on the training ground. She gave a positive answer. Brother Lin had already measured the dragon. The master was approaching them. He shouted to Su Heng, coming closer. Lin asked the boss that he had already returned. He said taking care of the supply convoy took a little time. He heard that Su Heng's snake dragon had grown to a late growth stage. Brother Lin confirmed this. The beast is quite consistent with the standards of this stage of growth. The master was surprised at how far the guy had come. He just hoped that the young man would become a little stronger and thought that it would be great if his pet entered the late stage of growth. Within a month, the snake dragon's strength had to increase significantly in order to cope with the competition. Little did he know that the young man had exceeded the plan. It's not bad. That's what the guys from Blacklight should do. The boss asked Lin to arrange for Su Heng to go to Rivet Town in the morning, and for him to order someone to send him back to the castle. The guy completed his special training. The master told Su Heng that he would take him to the warehouse to choose something. Boss Shu, the guy turned to him, because the man had just returned from a long journey. It's not too late to take a break and get back to work tomorrow. The commander said that now delaying until now is considered a violation of his promise. He promised him 2 things, so the master compensates him. The guy can choose another one. They came to the warehouse of the Grizzly Forest base. The guy asked again that he could really choose what he wanted. The master said he would wait there, and for him to choose. This was the answer. The guy was happy. He stood among treasures, various precious things. He wondered if this was Grizzly's lumberyard. Grizzly forests are extremely vast and cover not only forests, but also lakes, rivers, valleys, and even mountain valleys. This place features a wide range of materials from different regions. There was a small animal on his shoulder. The guy touched it with his finger, telling him to wake up, adding that he remembered what he told him last night. If there are such things in this warehouse, he should find them. Then the guy will help him turn into a dragon beast looking for treasure. The baby made a sound and raised his front paws up, seeming to agree and understand everything. The kid rushed to look for treasures. It all depends on luck if he can find them. Suddenly the guy saw that the little animal had jumped onto the statue that was there. He said that if he did not behave well, he would force the snake dragon to eat him, telling the kid to go and find the treasure. The little beast made a sound as if agreeing.
They're done. The master approached them, who began to look at what the guy chose. This large piece of evil fibrous root, also a dried magic flower. Then he asked, "This is good material, but what will he do with it? And is he sure that he doesn't want one more thing?"
Su Heng thanked Commander Shu for the reward. Having said that, he remembers how his sister mentioned the fertilizer that improves the soil on plantations, which they make, making it clear that he would not mind this becoming his 3rd award. The master said that the warehouse door was closed. He congratulated the guy on getting his hands on the root and the magic flower and the drill mud. This thing is the core material of dragon treasure essence. This dirt can be changed into something valuable and sold. Rivet Town. The guys were loading something into the car. A man asked them to put things away more carefully. He shouted at them to be careful with the master's treasures. Brother Lin addressed his younger brother, saying that Boss Shu had recently destroyed many of Shinfire's gathering points. They can do something in response. Therefore, he asked Su Heng to be careful on the way. Zhu approached them, greeted the guys, and asked Lin what he wanted to say, who he looked down on. Having said that, when Su Heng arrived in Rivet Town, he entered their territory, and he promised to deliver the guy back safe and sound. Brother Lin said it was good, then he will return. Boss Shu has things for him to do. Brother Lin told Su Heng that they were waiting for him in the Grizzly Forest. Always welcome. To which the younger one thanked him for his concern and said that he would definitely return. The guys shook hands. Zue, unable to bear it, told them that he would stop babying. He ordered his subordinates to check the fire extinguishing installations again. They will be moving out soon. Their goal is to get to Blacklight's gathering place. The guys answered in unison, yes. The guys gathered in the forest. The girl said, which was confirmed. A message from their informant in Rivet Town. A group of city guards from the city will escort the big shot to Blacklight Castle. According to the information received, it was this big shot that most likely interfered with their operation. The guy with the ring of the Keeper of the Fire. The second guy said that it was very good. He also received news that Lin Zhen had left the base. They decided to wait for the convoy accompanying that guy. On the map, one of the guys indicated the place where the convoy would pass, and the place where they would wait for them in that valley. The man looked through a magnifier. He watched the convoy. Luo Yu organized a hunt for the guy so that he could taste death. He added that he should not worry, he would make the young man pay for the death of his brother. Suddenly there was an explosion behind the guy. He didn't understand what happened. Lin addressed him, with a fiery avatar standing next to him so that he would not hide in the tree. The guy said that Luo Yu's two companions were killed by Commander Shu. As for him, he can handle it alone. The enemy could not believe what was happening. This is impossible. Lin told him to take another look at Su Heng's team. They stopped at the entrance to the valley. Luo Yu said it was disgusting. How dare they use this information as bait? He will take matters into his own hands. Two comrades from his team, however, were lying on the ground without signs of life. Lin said that now he is not as brave as he was in the forest. Commander Shu said that he was here solely to protect them from Master Blacklight. Otherwise, why was he at gunpoint? Adding, "Come on, Lin Zhen." The guy understood him. The master told him to take revenge for the death of his pet. The cars moved forward. Su Heng thought about it, looking at the level of damage. It must have been a particularly dangerous species. Senior brother Lin told him to leave half an hour later. The guy saw Master and brother Lin on the road. This was unexpected for him. He said, "Boss, Shu." The car stopped. Su Heng got out of the car and thanked him for his protection, saying that if Mr. Shu returned to Blacklight Castle in the future, he would definitely repay him. Commander Shu said, "Let's go." That you shouldn't keep the burgomaster waiting. 2 days later, Blacklight Castle. Su Heng stood in front of the teacher. The master said he heard it was a long journey. Let me see what has changed during this time. The guy said he wouldn't let him down, after which Su Heng summoned the snake dragon. The teacher stood up from what he saw. He walked up to the dragon to examine it. He even opened the beast's mouth. Mentally, the guy spoke to the pet, saying that he had better not move. If the master gets upset, they get both. The teacher said that many of his subordinates were killed in the city, even where armored and heavily armored wolves are tamed. After all, his eldest also suffered from them. The guy asked the master, "They won't take revenge on the grizzly forest again. His comrades are there too." The teacher replied, "Not to worry, the owner of the forest returned secretly. Everyone who comes except the highest ranks of Sinfire will die. The master is very pleased with his success." The guy not only exceeded the training requirements, but also played an important role in the investigation of a poaching incident in the grizzly forest. The teacher asked him what he wanted to receive as a reward. The guy asked the master that he still had the scales of the supreme dragon that he had given him. Can he get it again? To which the teacher asked, "What is it?" The guy made a big contribution. Why doesn't he want a normal reward? That maybe he wants something else. The young man asked if he could ask for help with a reward for Lin Zhen. At that time, there was a grizzly in the forest, if not for brother Lin, who sacrificed his main beast to save him. He might not come back. Lin Zhen, he is a really good candidate. His spiritual cultivation had reached its peak. Here's the thing. After the end of the Chinese New Year, the master will send him a young tiger of green flame. It was not in vain that he saved the young man's life. Su Heng thought about it. Tigers of green flame, dangerous look. Chief teacher Lu Yu has one. Brother Lin was blessed. In addition, the master has prepared a villa for the apprentice in the inner fort, so take advantage of this time to go to your sister's home and arrange to move there. The Six Lands tournament is about to begin, so don't get distracted from your work. Su Heng thanked the teacher. He said that it would live up to his expectations. The teacher had nothing to say. The guy turned around and started to walk away. The master has something to teach the guy. A young man always pays too much attention to morality. This is not good. In the world of masters, strength should be held in high esteem. And when there is a battle, you need to fight and show your strength. Suddenly, the teacher told the young man that on the second floor of his treasury, In addition to dragon scales, he should choose 2 more items. And I remembered that those who are not weak in spirit survive. Su Heng thought only the stronger will survive. The guy said, "Teacher, I understand." On the way home, the teacher's words made Su Heng think. Having survived the incident with Sinfire, the guy realized that he could make a choice for himself towards moral principles. But this presupposes that a person must decide everything with the help of his strength, prove his place through strength. The guy walked up to their house with Su Qing. You could hear someone laughing and talking about him. Su Heng wondered who his sister was talking to again. He walked up to the slightly open door, the sister said. Running out of the house, the girl hugged him tightly and told her brother that he had finally returned. She heard from the guards that he was attacked on the road. He said, "Everything is fine, sis. It's all over." Suddenly, the guy noticed 2 girls in the room. The sister explained that they were her colleagues from the General Services Division of the Plantation Administration and the Materials Processing Division of the Bureau of Resource Management. She introduced them, having said that it is Lin Menwan and Jin Meili. They are all her good friends. Suddenly he said, "Wouldn't your sister like it?" and fell silent. Sugong told the kid, their parents, he must fight for his life. She continued to say that he needed to start a family, a business. His brother needed a better life. His sister selected the best for him. They know how to cook and clean. A hard worker like her brother is constantly away from home, so he is probably looking for a person who could do all this. The guy said he was a little tired and wanted to go back to his room and take a nap, asking that it's okay if he doesn't eat. The sister stood in front of him with crossed arms. She was unhappy with what she heard. Although Su Heng refused to go on this blind date, he could not resist Su Qing's wishes. So the whole dinner passed in an awkward atmosphere. Only when the guy showed the beast looking for treasure did he attract the attention of 3 girls. The little beast amused them all. He tried hard. It was late. The girls were getting ready to go home. The sister shouted, asking her brother to take them home. "Okay." Su Heng said that he understood, to which one of the girls said that they did not need to be accompanied. They lived not far away. The girls need to cross the road and they will be almost home. The second girl told the guy not to worry. They had a good time, adding she didn't know he was so formal, seeing something or someone ahead. The guy extended his hand in front of the girls, stopping them. And he told them, "Be careful." They stopped and saw some kind of animal from around the corner. The animal had burning eyes. It looks like a rat, but several times larger. Meili asked if it was a rat. How could something like this enter this place? The guy replied that this is an adult, low-level, dangerous species, fierce rats. Menwan asked that a rat could really become so big. Su Heng suggested that maybe he mutated after accidentally eating the corpse of some animal, adding that storm rats live in packs. Told the girls not to come near. There were more rats. They began to make sounds and move towards the guys. The girls were a little scared. Something occurred to the guy. He thought that chicken was their favorite food. The cooked bird was in the girl's basket and emitted a bright smell. He summoned a serpentine dragon. The rats, seeing the beast, were frightened and surprised. They started to run away. Su Heng gave the command to the dragon to act. After asking, "You think you can escape from the snake dragon?" the beast prepared to chase the rats. They ran away as fast as they could, but he was already there. The dragon killed them one by one, leaving no chance for life. The guy said, "An adult, low-level, dangerous species, a storm rat, which 2 months ago the dragon lizard would have had to seriously face. Today he killed them, just like he would kill a chicken." The guards ran up to them. One of them asked that they were already dead. The security guy said that 4 ferocious rats were killed in a matter of seconds, worthy of a master tamer. Su Heng said to the guy who came up to him that at this time of year the rats do not have enough food, so the rats dig the ground in search of food. He told the guys to request a blood-tailed cat from the security bureau. Otherwise, such penetration into civilian premises will be on a large scale. The security guys shouted in unison that they would follow his instructions. Su Heng said that he wanted these 4 rats to be sent to the chambers of the inner fort. The young man felt a little awkward, but he told them to just say that Villa 73, Su Huan, was taking them. The villas located next to Blacklight Fortress are rich and famous, and this is mainly a complex for masters. Villa 73, which the teacher gave to Su Heng, was originally Zhou He's personal residence. Therefore, he was very envied. Lu Ling, who lived in the house opposite, made the most noise, but when he saw his sister Su Qing, he became silent. Su Heng doubted that this old man would have any thoughts about his elder sister. He always thought that this older brother was a little hot-tempered and shy. Someone said, "Be careful not to dirty Master Su's yard," when the worker carried the killed rat into the villa yard in a box. Su Heng had a plan to process the corpses of these ferocious rats. Especially the snake dragon has such a big appetite, coupled with dragon transformation and opening skills. Converting consumables is expensive. After all, the black thick liquid that was used to make strange objects is a strategic material. You should not sell large quantities that can be tracked. The mutated ferocious rats he encountered this time made Su Heng remember another thing from the old dragon code. This is bloodline incense, this kind of perfume. The principle of operation of this perfume is that it is able to imitate the illusion of a blood connection between the owner and his pet. The ability to briefly immerse the pet and owner in oneself to accelerate the creation of mental connections, even for those who have not yet become master tamers. This will also speed up the establishment of a spiritual connection with the young animal in the egg. Bloodline incense will become a hot commodity, according to the recipe of the old dragon code, after extracting incense from the corpses of ferocious rats. You need to add the poison of the bladderwort dreamworm and the hairs on the back of the lower leaves of the moon orchid. Combination with a binder, and finally distillation and purification. The guy combined the liquids. Su Heng wondered if it was possible to do it. If this actually works, it would be a great way to make money. Ultimately, the cost is quite low. But the guy doesn't know if it works. He noticed the baby sitting with his back turned to him. The little animal smelled something. Su Heng decided to try his potion on himself and the treasure-seeking animal. Under the influence of the bloodline incense, they simultaneously entered an illusion. Su Heng seemed to have become an adult beast and the old father of a treasure-seeking beast, who, after the birth of the baby, the treasure-seeking beast, took him with him every day in search of treasures and found a huge mountain of them. The kid was touched to the point of stupor. The guy had a headache. He thought, what a strange thing. The guy will rush to turn the beast looking for treasure into a dragon. Tomorrow he will go to the teacher's treasury. The kid looked at him strangely, intending to jump. The young man was the first to recover from the smell of perfume. The little animal was still under its influence. He jumped at Su Heng, shouting, "Ma!" The guy shouted that he was not his father. Burgomaster's treasury. The general manager asked Su Heng that if the guy didn't come next time, he would find him. The young man was to blame. He asked for forgiveness. He said that he was busy moving these days and forgot. Lin F. Wu laughed. He knows there is work to be done. The manager told the guy to follow him. The Grandmaster approached the door of the treasury. Having put their hands forward a little, they began to be enveloped by the limbs of some beast. It was a parasitic guardian beast, a particularly dangerous species, a squid crocodile slave, a mystic, a guardian of the double line. Natural skill, solid gold. Can enhance the strength of the entire treasury, and whoever opens the door must receive a verbal agreement from the owner. Otherwise, he will be eaten in one gulp. In comparison, Chief Shu's treasury is no match for Master's treasury. Door opened. It was as if smoke was coming out of the room. Lin Fu said that the second floor of the treasury is also considered a reserve. He had been watching the owner of the fortress for so many years, but for the first time he saw Mr. Zhou Hu promise a low-ranking master to take 3 items at a time. He told Su Heng not to let the burgomaster down. The guy thanked him for his concern. Unlike Mr. Shu's cluttered treasure vault, Blacklight's second-floor treasury is a huge, complex place. It seemed like a huge library. All the treasures were neatly arranged. On top of the treasures, there is a box that looks like glass, and also glows. The guy thought that there is no such thing as not letting the burgomaster down. This is just a hint not to take more. He is not stupid. A beast lives on the territory of the treasury. A dangerous look is the evil eye monitor. He has the racial energy skill flash of light and shadow. If he looks, then everything can be seen even more clearly than on the X-ray. And, in addition, the whole room. The guy doesn't know how many more security measures there are. A treasure hunter. This time he will have to search for treasure through the seal. Su Heng spoke to the little beast through the ring to guide him to the dragon scales and the 2 materials needed to transform into a dragon. At the same time in the ring, the kid tuned into the wave to find the things he needed. With the help of a treasure-hunting beast, the guy managed to find scales from the hidden treasure, and 100 grams of spiritual essence. But, strangely enough, the floating secret stone was nowhere to be found. The guy walked up to the treasure chest. The baby made a sound. Su Heng said not there. This is definitely not a floating secret stone. The young man found the things he needed. Ego was met by the manager. He began to list the selections. High-grade dragon scales, spirit essence. He asked Su Heng why he needed this stone. The guy replied that he was missing 1 brick at home, to which Lin Fu said not to make him laugh. This brick contains the secret levitation stone. But the secret floating stone is a treasure that can only be found on the 3rd floor. The guy has a trained eye. He's not skilled, he's just very good at looking for treasures. He can even find them in the ceiling. Su Heng returned to his room. He was studying the book. Now all the materials necessary for the dragon transformation ceremony have been collected. He found the words of the dragon transformation ceremony. The guy was reading a book, and at some point he started laughing. The kid looked at him and didn't understand. The young man thought that the little animal would be something like a snake dragon. But is it really so simple and rude? He took the baby and they headed to the right place in the room. The guy said that now we will begin the ceremony of turning the baby into a dragon. In total, the Lord of Blacklight Castle Zhou Hu has 9 students, and Su Heng is the youngest. The guy's 8 brothers and sisters hold important positions in the castle. We can say that they are the core and foundation of the fortress. They are also very strong real masters. A meeting was planned, but initially between Bai Su and Kuna's elder sister. They are going to meet with Lu Ling to discuss the hunting guard. Third brother took this opportunity for Su Heng to meet the 2 older sisters. Hence, all this thoughtlessness right from the start. Su Heng poured tea into cups. Kune asked Su. She heard that the master appointed her to create the 8th hunting guard. And she asked if the girl had already gathered everyone into the guard. She replied that almost everything was already there, but she was still picking up the last member. The hunting guard, Su Heng thought. This was the first time he heard about it. Q asked her younger brother that he didn't know about them. The hunting guard is a special unit of Castle Blacklight. Usually it is formed not only by the Blacklight settlement, but also by others. Such a guard tracks down the young of all kinds of dangerous creatures in the vast wild lands, as well as searching and collecting various materials and treasures for the main goal. The hunting guard consists of 4 warriors and 12 attendants. There are 7 existing guards located within the Blacklight assembly area. In the castle, animal eggs brought by the guards are used to select masters. Therefore, it is a very important organization. Q said that Su's elder sister could introduce him to a good newcomer. There is a girl named Reina, who became a master 2 years ago. She has a mature ironwood and a mature hibernating butterfly. All of them belong to the dangerous species of the middle level, possessing good direct combat power. In addition, she recently acquired a young, particularly dangerous species of bloodlion. Su Heng said that that girl has great potential. The guy thought and asked questions that this Reina, an iron tree, a sleeping butterfly. Aren't these his teammates from the Six Lands tournament? Bloody lion. They all seem to be working tirelessly. Suddenly, Su said that she still couldn't figure out who was worth taking. It would be a burden for her to distract a newcomer in order to take him into the guard. One of the guys was about to pour sugar into the tea when he heard the girl and stopped. Lu Ling turned to Su and said, "Let me introduce a newcomer with great potential, Big Brother. It definitely meets her needs." He said, "Here," pointing his finger at Su Heng, who was sitting opposite him. She answered. It seemed to her that it was her younger brother, telling Ling to tell her about the newcomer. Su Heng was excited and didn't understand anything. Kyugu told the third brother to stop. He became a master in just a couple of months. He doesn't want to send someone else to such a dangerous place. Su clarified. He says that he is a newcomer. This is his younger brother. Lung confirmed that this is how he recommends their super rookie younger brother, Su Heng. He replied to the 7th sister that he was not putting on a show. The guy has only been working as a master for 3 months, and he only has 1 pet. But this is a very dangerous species, and the snake dragon that the little brother had a month or so ago. By the time Lung dealt with the northern section of the defense, the beast was already in mid-growth. After he was in the grizzly forest, he may have grown up. Isn't it almost late growth? Lung asked the girls a question. Isn't a person with a very dangerous appearance in the middle stage of growth a super newbie? Su asked her younger brother if his snake dragon would grow up soon. Ku asked to show it to them. The guy's ring lit up. He called his pet, telling him to come out. Immediately he thought about its size. Seeing the beast, Lung said, "This is the body and aura." He had no doubt about the guy's talent. The dragon is in a late stage of growth. Su Heng said that he became like this just recently. Q thinks that the guy needs practice now. She invited him to come to her hunting guard. She would show him everything and he could practice his fighting skills. To which Su turned to the 7th sister, saying that her hunting guards were in full force. She was missing one thing. To which Q replied, well, she will no longer tease her younger brother. He will be hers in the future. Su Heng feels like he has to decide for himself. Lung was surprised by something or someone. He asked why there were so many visitors today. The man who came for Su Heng is Tim, the son of Jolly's father, who is also at the pharmacy where the guy was trying to sell bloodline incense. To cope with the Six Lands tournament, the young man planned to sell everything. and take the snake dragon to the next level as quickly as possible. Bloodline incense is a new drug that has never appeared in blacklight. Its price reaches a huge figure for one bottle, so sales were never opened. But today Tim came to him and said that he wanted to buy a large amount of incense. Su-heng arrived at the pharmacy. Tim's father approached him that this time he wanted to buy more than 10 of these bottles from the guy. The young man said that he has been selling samples for 10 days, but he is asking for as many as 10 bottles. This is a little strange. The man may not pay. He said the guy is wrong. He will pay in cash. And, in general, he wants to buy as much as possible. Tim was holding something in his hands. He explained that each card here contained 1 million, prepared by his father to pay for the vials. Su-heng wondered why everything suddenly turned out so well. Clear day, pharmacy. Pharmacist Jolly told the guy that in this case, they agreed on payment and goods. He said that the next time the guy has something new, don't hesitate to contact him. Su-heng thanked him and left. Father hit Tim, telling him not to mess around but to help. He asked his father why he told Mr. Su that one of his bottles had been sold. Apparently, he asked his son to put it on the counter. They have so much stuff that they'll be in a deep hole if they can't sell it. His son is still too young. The apothecary wondered out loud that, not to mention new masters, even veteran masters would use it to tame new pets. As soon as this becomes known, the demand for these products will exceed supply. Tim told his dad that he wasn't a master and didn't know if it would work. Jolly lost his temper, shouting to his son that he at least knew who Mr. Su was. This is the burgomaster's genius disciple, a supreme master, and he is capable of producing these incense. They should establish a relationship with a person like him. After all, is it possible to run a business focusing on the near future? The son told his father that couldn't they just talk so he wouldn't hit him. Blacklight base, preparing the handlers for departure. Mentor Lu, push the speech. That Blacklight's honor is at stake in this tournament. And for the guys personally, this is a great opportunity. If they can get a good rating, then their career path will be even wider. Adding that remember, they are a team, and so that they can help each of them together. She asked if they understood. The guys shouted in unison that yes. That's good, said Mentor Lu. We all get into the cars and get ready for the trip. She divided the guys into cars. Who would sit in which one and with whom? Pointing her finger at Su-heng, she said that they would go with him in the first armored vehicle. When Luo Chong heard this, he was dissatisfied. Wang asked his friend why they don't sit with Mrs. Lu, and that guy gets all the best. He replied that brother Wang, he had only recently become a master. Perhaps he would be afraid of us. Don't be angry. There will still be many chances to show him where he belongs. Compared to Grizzly Forest, the Six Lands tournament takes place much further from Blacklight Castle. However, thanks to good roads, the actual route is significantly shorter and can be completed in about 2 days. And this time, in addition to Blacklight, other cities and one castle are participating in the tournament. Although Blacklight Fortress is very strong, the other 5 places also have their own specialized techniques. It is unclear who will win. They all stopped for the night. Teacher Lu was handing out assignments, where Group 3 will have to stay up for the first half of the night and check the fortifications around the camp. The first and second groups prepare food for themselves and their pets. The guys said yes in unison. While cutting the carrots, Su-heng thought that the overall preparation would take some time, so he needed to prepare more. Suddenly, the guy's ring lit up. This is a beast looking for treasure. He told the baby to come out. Su-heng saw scales on the animal. This is the dragon bloodline, bestowed by the scales they took from the treasury. He wondered if the treasure-seeking beast had gained the ability to fly after swallowing the secret floating stone. Yes, he succeeded. The guy was happy. He hugged the baby, saying that he was very lucky. Teacher Lu clapped her hands to get attention, and she said that everyone, first of all, feed your pets and keep them in good condition for the tournament. Then she asked his comrades where Su-heng was. Kong replied that he had summoned his beast and was chatting with it. An ordinary human with a scaly beast of mixed blood. What the guy said was heard by Su-heng and the animal. The kid was indignant, saying as if who he was looking down on. Scaled beasts is a collective term for dangerous creatures such as red-scaled beasts, fiery-scaled beasts, and the like. They are born with scales. As for the mixed-blood scaly beasts, these are the offspring of scaly beasts and other dangerous creatures. And usually all animals with mixed blood are weak. Su-heng thought, just give them a reason to make a fuss. Wang asked, isn't it true that an animal with mixed blood is the same as its owner? A great battle awaits them. It will start soon. But he doesn't know how to feed his pet on time. Continuing. But again, What kind of power can he have with this mediocre beast? Then he suggested feeding the animals first, and forgetting about it. Each member of the team began to summon all their pets. Wang Shun, Sand Mountain Lion, Steel Beetle. Wound summoned, Iron Demon Tree, Sleeping Butterfly, Blood Lion. Lin Yuxin, Ghost Flower Tiger, Energy Swift. Girl Lin turned to the guys. In special training, Mrs. Liu said that this time they all represent Blacklight Castle. They are a team, a single whole. It's not good to gossip like that, is not it? Chong summoned his pet red-scaled dinosaur. Having said that, in a team you should only listen to the one who is stronger. If he is weak, he will drag the team down. They would still have to rely on Brother Wang. The guy and his beast became puzzled. There was a question in the air. A snake dragon appeared and stood very angry behind Su Heng. He was now in front of a red-scaled dinosaur. He struck him. He flew back. Chong asked the guy what he was doing. Su Heng, as if nothing had happened, asked what he was talking to him about. He continued by asking that he wants to start a fight with him, doesn't he? Then the guy called a bloody wolf. Su Heng said no, it was a misunderstanding. He didn't even give an order to his pet. He doesn't seem to be in a very good mood. Maybe someone said something bad about him. Then the snake dragon pressed the steel beetle to the ground with its paw. Seeing this, Su Heng asked his beast, how could he behave like this? That he is ashamed of him. Wang shouted, "You?" Chong asked Su Heng what he was doing. They're a team, doesn't he know? They have to stick together. Su Heng addressed them that it is normal for them to throw mud at people and their mixed-blood pets. The team will listen to the one who is strongest, and if they are weak, then they will drag the team down. He asked what was wrong. Wang said furiously, "Su Heng, he asked that you will have to count on me, right?" The guy asked a question. "Brother Wang, maybe we can arrange a training session." He replied that he was talking about his scaly beast, not the serpentine dragon. He got it all wrong. Su Heng asked him what you were afraid of. Wang asked the question that we are a team, aren't we? The guy said that if he doesn't want to be alone, be with Chong. They can choose 4 opponents for the serpentine dragon. Su Heng was a good person in the training camp. He didn't know he had such a strong side. Well, this is interesting. The guys prepared Wang and Chong with their pets against Su Heng and his snake dragon. Su Heng turned to his comrades that he would not mock them. So let's get started. Wang was dissatisfied and said that he considers himself the elder and advises the younger, giving the command to the beasts to fight. The boys' pets began to surround Su Heng and the snake dragon. He said that such a simple and effective tactic, but so naive in the face of absolute power. He turned to his beast to do this. But be careful, otherwise you will kill. The bloody wolf was the first to attack. The dragon hit him with his tail. He flew back. The next to attack were a mountain lion and a red-scaled dinosaur. To fight them, the snake dragon used the dragon power technique. Cut. He used the evil speed attack technique in the fight against the steel beetle. The snake dragon again pressed his head to the ground with its paw. The girls on the team looked at what was happening and wondered when he became so strong. It's all over. The guy sat near the fire preparing food. Chong asked Su Heng if the guy would like it, handing his friend the packed box. Excellent stuff, dried snow yak. The young man asked what it was salty. That spotted silver fish he gave last time was too big. The guy kept saying it wasn't salty. He wasn't careful last time. Chong suggested that Brother Su try it first, and if he thinks it is salty, he will rinse it again with clean water. The comrades had nothing to say about Chong's behavior. Rana asked what talent. Why didn't we understand this earlier? Lin Yuxin asked Wang Shun what he was thinking. The guy asked again and said he didn't know. Su Heng thought, the concept of complete supremacy of power is common among the wild, and for people like Chong, it is completely rare. At least they're on the same team, so he'll overlook it. Morning has come, they set off. The place where the Six Lands tournament took place was called the Valley of Red Maples, because of the trees growing there. The main building of the tournament, built of special stone, durable and self-healing, was erected by the joint efforts of 6 main centers. Although expensive, it required no maintenance, and no one lived here except when the tournament began. The judging panel for the duel tournament of the 6 Lands included leading masters from Blacklight Castle, the cities of Red Scorpion, Lin Yun, Lu Yun, Chaotic Sand, and Lian Ying Castle. Therefore, each judge has a professional level or higher, serving on the one hand, the game, and on the other, representing the voice of their gathering place. The guys arrived at the scene. One of the teams was already present at the meeting place. Mentor Lu turned to Su Heng, saying that they were from the Red Scorpion Castle. The guys are on good terms with them. Suddenly, the girl in heels shouted, "Lu Yun! Then she said she didn't know that she was leading the team this year. Mentor Lu said, "Long time no see, Fei." She didn't know that they, the guys from the Red Scorpion Castle, would arrive first. Fei replied that of course they had to arrive first to drink their honey beer. Lu Yun said that she missed her friend. It would be more boring to drink it herself. Suddenly something happened. Someone drove up in a car. Fei was very unhappy, angry and outraged. She headed towards that car. She walked up to her, swung her leg, and hit her. A man said her name and then asked what happened. It was Ting Chi, the leader from Lin Yun City. And next to him was the guy Wang Yi, a participant from the same place. The man approached the car and asked the girl why she was kicking such a thing. The girl asked him who told him to honk. "He's too noisy." He said he was just honking the horn to say hello to everyone. Continuing, Ting said, she can blame him. The man will drink beer later. Fei said that he was probably joking. He won't get a sip of Blacklight's honey beer. He said, "Ji Fei, listen." Wang Yi turned his attention while looking towards Lu Yun and the young man next to her. Su Heng thought that the guy next to the leader, he is also with Lin Yun. People didn't sleep well all night, when column after column came, but fortunately, everyone got there. The next day, after the traditional rules were clarified and the judges were sworn in, the Six Lands dueling tournament was officially opened. This tournament has a relatively fair scoring system. 30 people meet each other 5 times by lot, with 1 point added for a victory and 1 point deducted for a loss. The 8 with the most points will start the final. Registration desk for dueling fights. Fei stood next to Su Heng, who came to register and said that according to the tournament rules, each participant can register only 2 animals, so there is no need to try to cheat. The guy thought, the snake dragon is good, but so is the treasure hunter. But he decided that it was better not to show it, so as not to be in demand. Su Heng added his animal to the registration sheet. The guy standing behind him saw who he wrote, and said that he couldn't believe that trash like that still existed in a big place like Blacklight, asking how he dared to bring a beast with mixed blood to the tournament. Dueling Arena Red Maple Valley. The presenter and part-time judge, standing in the arena, said that in the first qualifying round, an individual competition, each player can change his animal no more than once. If the beast loses the will to fight, or is no longer able to fight, it loses. He began to announce who would start the 2 first. 2 sides, Blacklight Castle Su Heng and Yun Hua from Lu Yun Castle. The man gave the command for them to begin the battle. Yun told him to show him his beasts, the cannon fodder of Blacklight Castle. The guy's pet is a dangerous-looking clouded leopard. Su Heng said, "Which of us is cannon fodder? This is just a mid-level dangerous species. I'm afraid that he won't even be able to defeat Chong." Yun asked the guy not to worry, he wouldn't mock him. Having said that, let's maintain friendly relations. And if he is stronger than the youth, he must have the courage to fight. The audience was unhappy. One of them asked what was so dangerous about the mid-level species. The second shouted at them not to waste time and to start fighting. Su Heng summoned his pet. Snake Dragon decided to make fun of him a little. Yunhua asked what the Snake Dragon was. He doesn't even have the desire to fight, he's low class. The guy gave the command to the clouded leopard, forward. The beast went on the attack, jumping on the dragon, but he was thrown back, receiving a blow from his tail. Yun was shocked. Having said what unworthy methods he used, the judge announced that Su Heng from Blacklight won win, asking Yunhua to summon his second pet for the second round. The youth told the judge that he would report this. The guy cheated. The host asked him that he didn't even know who that snake dragon monster was. The guy asked the snake dragon, "Isn't his best monster mixed blood?" Yun asked, "So what? He hasn't given up yet." He summoned his second beast. He immediately went on the offensive. And then he received a good blow, after which he flew back. The audience started shouting that this was unfair. They are protesting. Blacklight Castle sends a very dangerous-looking competitor to the tournament. And also, late growth. Chong began to say that the guys were bullying. His brother Su's snake dragon has not yet reached maturity, although it won't be long before that happens. This does not count as exceeding the limit set by the tournament. According to the rules, you can take any pets. The guy exchanged glances with Su Heng and continued to say that, to be honest, his brother Su is just great. He was able to raise such a monster on his own. He shouted to the entire arena that one day all the animals would stand in line for brother Su to pick them up. Chong's comrades sitting nearby were very surprised at how he behaved and what he said. Wang said he swears this guy must have let Su Heng beat him to a pulp. He was never like this when he was with him. He doesn't even know this guy who said all this. The first round of the Six Lands Duel tournament was essentially a clash of cannon fodder from all walks of life. There were real masters, like Su Heng, who were able to defeat the enemy with one movement. Naturally, there are those who pretend to be pigs and watch everything that happens. Besides Su Heng's complete victory over his opponent, there were also people from Blacklight who were fighting. It is worth noting that Wang distinguished himself this time, and his opponent was a guy and his pets with similar strength. Both sides battled in the arena for over 20 minutes before the fight ended. 5 guys from Su Heng's team scored 1 win and 1 loss. In only the 4th match, Su Heng faced member Wang Yi. He is among the 8 favorites with 2 mature, developed dangerous species. Both guys have 3 wins. According to the experience of previous years, usually only a complete 5-match winning streak is enough to confidently reach the last 8. That's why this match is so important for both of them. The battle has begun. First attack. Su Heng began to mentally analyze, predict the battle, that steel energy, the enemy's innate beast skill. Black Tiger with Steel Claw used the steel energy technique at a critical moment to strengthen his defense and stop the bleeding at the same time. He wants to use the damage for damage technique to engage in hand-to-hand combat with the Snake Dragon. The guy won't fall for it. Su Heng shouted, "Snake Dragon, Energy Earth Cannon." The dragon prepared to use the technique. He began to think high-speed movement and shooting by using the increased restorative power of the Earth system and strengthening the evil-thinking bullets. Although she cannot kill, she is quite difficult to deal with. This is the Snake Dragon's new attack after it has entered the late growth stage. The guy's pet began to attack, releasing balls one after another that flew at the beast, hitting the target near her. There was an explosion. What appeared to be sharp crystals, only larger in size, appeared in front of the tiger. The beast thought for a while. Red Maple Valley Arena? The spectators were alarmed. They were glad that the judge arrived on time. Otherwise, something would have happened. After all, it was a dangerous moment. The judge announced that the first victory of this round was Su Heng from Blacklight Castle. Wang Yi thought that after this fight, the Snake Dragon must have used up a lot of energy. The second animal harnessed by him with mixed blood should not have combat power. He doesn't think the guy could do it in a short amount of time. And he wondered that he could train a dangerous species to a late stage of growth, and at the same time take care of another pet. He summoned his second pet. I told him to come out. A dangerous look appeared. Two-tailed steel beast. Su Heng told the Snake Dragon to use the evil thought bomb first, test the opponent's defense, and slowly regain his strength. He did just that. He began to attack the beast, launching balls at it. Wang Yi said that the two-tailed steel beast is his real strength. He won't lose. The guy told his beast techniques to use against the enemy. First, the power of steel, the double saw. Behind it is level 4 enlightenment, a double saw. One of the spectators said that it was a strong, terrible skill of the 4th level. This is no longer a beginner's fight. Chong assumed that this was the end of Su Heng's pet. Then he said what they were talking about in general. His boss must have another trick up his sleeve. He added, clenching his hand into a fist, that he had to win. Wang Yi gave the command to his beast to attack. Well, there's no need to ask him. His beast jumped up ready to strike the enemy. He knocked the dragon to the ground with his paw, pressing his head. Su Heng realized that practically nothing works against his defense, and only the evil ray is capable of this. Wang Yi shouted to the enemy to surrender, saying the guy shouldn't do this. He's good enough to be in the top 3. He added that if they do, continuing to fight like this will only get worse. Su Heng replied, "Yeah." Having said that, Wang Yi is left to admit defeat. He said that then the young man would be finished, giving the command to his beast to use the double saw technique. His pet went to attack the dragon. He ran into him again, knocked him to the ground, pinning him with both paws. While the dragon was flying away, he used his technique, after which sharp stones appeared from the ground. They delayed the steel beast a little. Wang Yi said it was useless. It is impossible to break through the defense with this level of attack. Su Heng asked a question. What if there are more of them? The dragon began to act. Sharp stones. He began to create them from different sides, from different angles, not allowing the enemy to get close to him. The spectators were surprised. It was incredible for them. The terrain has completely changed. They stood opposite each other. Each of them was ready for a new attack. Snake Dragon, two-tailed steel beast. Wang Yi thought that it was not beneficial for him to have little time left. The Snake Dragon can use the power of the earth at any time to recuperate. He needs to win quickly. He commanded the steel beast to attack with its spikes. The guy's pet released sharp thorns. They flew straight towards the dragon. Then Wang Yi said that there was an excellent chance to use the tailed steel sniper technique. The dragon flew up. The steel beast began to stretch out its tails towards him, of which there were quite a few. Wang Yi shouted to his pet to throw it. The steel beast wrapped its tails around the snake dragon. He pulled the dragon down and it fell to the ground, hitting itself. At this point, the snake dragon stood up, ready to use the 4th level enlightenment technique. Warhammer of the mighty dragon, Wang Yi shouted. No! The dragon's hammer flew straight at the beast, smashing everything in its path. The judge said that Su Heng won the 2nd time in this round. With the guy's victory, a list of 5 consecutive winners appeared who directly qualified for the quarterfinals. Castle, Blacklight and Lianying. Cities, Lu Yun, Red Scorpion and Chaos Sand. 1 person from each gathering place. They are all members from different places, but unfortunately Wang Yi is from Lin Yun. Su Heng knocked him out of the arena with the dragon's warhammer. There are 6 people left with 4 victories and 1 defeat. Unfortunately, the remaining participants from Blacklight are not included in this list, and will be spectators until the end of the tournament. After the qualifying rounds, 3 of the 6 ended up in the last 8, the first being Wang Yi, whose strength is beyond doubt. So, the top 8 has been determined. All that remains is to wait for tomorrow's battle. The format of the final battles is knockout. The finalists meet one after another. The winner advances, and the loser is eliminated from the competition. Once again, Su Heng was very lucky and was chosen first by lot. He got the weakest of the 8, Li Fei, master of Lianying Castle. The guy turned to Master Su Heng saying that he was giving up. Su Heng apologized to Master L and Fei and wished him to get well soon, saying that he was looking forward to their next meeting. The audience was shocked, but they loved it. After all, in less than 20 seconds, both animals were knocked out. It was obvious to them that the difference in class was too great. Chong was delighted, saying that in 20 seconds, this is incredible. He said, turning to some guy, that he had seen what kind of brother he had. He will defeat him too. The guy Chong was addressing sat serious and attentive. He looked at Su Heng and his beast. The leader is that the judge said that today in the 2nd battle, Liu Fang from Luyun City and Chen Xuan from Chaos Sand City will meet. The baking sheets entered the arena. Xuan Girl's beasts. A dangerous species. The red polar wolf and a particularly dangerous species. The windstream falcon. Liu Fang's boyfriend's beasts. A dangerous species. The golden mantis and a particularly dangerous species. The fiery scaled beast. The battle between them was undoubtedly fierce. The windstream falcon's feathers were split by the fierce golden mantis. Only with the help of a powerful 3-level wind energy technique was he able to defeat his opponent. In the 2nd battle, the windstream falcon did not have time to expend most of the fire beast's physical strength, and then hastily lost the battle. Liu Fang sent her most powerful pet, the red polar wolf, into the arena. Originally, he was no match for the fire-scaly Vera, but this time the rivalry was downright devastating. Chen Xuan's unfortunate exit from the tournament also meant that they were officially eliminated from the race for a place in the Bloody Forest ruins. 3rd battle of the day, Ji Mei from Red Scorpion City against Quan Zhen from Lianying. Animals of the girl Mei. Particularly dangerous species are the Scorpion King and the Blood Scorpion. Gai Zhen's beasts. A particularly dangerous species is the Fire Monkey and the Explosive Beast. In battle, the Blood Scorpion, clad in strong armor, flicked its tail and was about to give the Fire Monkey a training session with the Scorpion's venom. The monkey, grabbing the tail, threw the Scorpion to the ground, and at that moment, when everyone thought that it was all over, she dealt a fatal blow, which turned the course of the fight. In the 2nd battle, Quan Zheng used an explosive beast and tried to deliver a long-range fire strike. He was opposed by a large scorpion that could hide in the ground. Everything hit the iron plate. Mei successfully reached the quarterfinals. Wei entered the arena to fight, and Huo Hong became his opponent. Wang Yi thought that this was really unfair. He first met Su Heng with a particularly dangerous look. Then Emu managed to reach the quarterfinals, and now he met Hong. He encouraged himself by thinking to himself that the people of Linyun City would not admit defeat so easily. But what else can he do if he doesn't give up? After the victory, Hong turned to Su Heng, clarified what city he was from, and said that he and he now had the same score. He suggested that the guy not draw lots but just fight, asking if he dares. Su Heng didn't understand what was happening, and he wondered why that guy was looking at him. He wants to draw lots, big brother. Chong shouted, "Why don't you do it? His brother Su will win." Su Heng turned to his comrade, saying that it was he who insulted him. Chong asked for an explanation, and then Su Heng hit him in the face, tell him to explain. They were standing in the arena. Hong angrily said the name and where the enemy was from. He only now realized what the guy was like when he defeated and humiliated Master Wang Yi. It is immediately clear that the young man is out of shape. Su Heng turned to Hong to explain. After all, there was a misunderstanding. He said that there was no need to say anything. He understood everything. Chong shouted that there was no need to explain anything here. Brother Su will defeat him. Hong called his pet Fire Monkey. An evolved form of the fire monkey, a dangerous species in its early stages of development. Su Heng thought the opponent removed his main strength, the eagle beast, and replaced it with a monkey, clearly trying to drain the snake dragon's stamina. This fight will be tough. The battle continues. Techniques have been used and attacks have been made. Now they stood opposite each other with full readiness to act. Hong thought, great. He simply uses monkey agility to wear down his opponent. He has another pet. Let's see how he wins today. The guy's pet monkey went on the attack. He jumped up, emitting streams of firelight that tried to reach the enemy. The dragon deftly dodged.